Blynd Submyshynz, where DIY bands submit songs for us to listen and react to blind. Every week, we'll bring a guest from the underground music, arts, or entertainment scene to help you sort through mountains of new music. We go in blind so you don't have to. Blynd Submyshynz.
Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode of
Blynd Submyshynz. Draw that one out, baby. Draw it out. This is J.D. Norton.
Jeff Wilson.
And we are here. Back.
We're dudes
All over the place.
Dudes, we're redlining the output.
Yeah, look at that, baby.
Yeah, it's fine. No big deal.
Call everybody baby today.
That's hey, what's up, baby?
What's up, baby?
So, what's on the menu today, good sir?
Ooh.
Oh, wait, hold on.
What is on the menu?
First, I'll say happy birthday. When you're hearing this, it's going to be about a week off, but
yeah.
JD turned
Don't say that. Everybody thinks I'm younger than I am.
that's what they say.
This white beard does not give me away.
Well, that's what they say.
Yeah.
No, JD had his birthday. We did our normal thing on a Friday night, made some pizza, and drew a winner for the King Buffalo final giveaway YouTube contest.
We did, and it was a blind submission.
It was a blind
itself.
submission.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it was a gem from Dead, that Australian band that we fell in love with.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So we will be true to our words, shipping a record all the way to beautiful Australia.
Yep.
One of these days. Hey, we're super on the ball with this kind of stuff, so expect it anytime within the next 2 months. 6 months? Well, I went 2 months, but
2 months sounds good.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we will ship it within 2 months, and, with the U.S. Postal Service, it might make it there in the next 6 months.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. I can't vouch for the Australian Postal Service.
They're probably a lot better.
Probably much better. Hey, so we have something really fun today.
Do we?
Yeah, we have not a guest. We have an entire band on the other end of the line.
We have a guest with an S on the end.
Yeah, we have guestesses.
Nice.
Today we have the entire, every member, all three of them from Howling Giant.
Howling Giant?
Yeah, Howling Giant. Tom, Zach, and Seabass.
Seabass.
So, of course, we made him, in the audio check, listen to Dumb and Dumber.
Kick his ass, Seabass!
Couldn't help it. So, if you don't know who Howling Giant is, or you're not listening to them,
they're a band.
You're missing out big time. We're going to fix that a little bit right now by playing some Howling Giant just to get you in the mood to talk to them boys. And then we'll go ahead and bring them on. So they just, yesterday as of recording, announced the release of I believe an instrumental record, although when I look at the lineup it says vocals. So, yeah. But a new record called Alteration. Crazy album cover, I guess. Here, let me share it real quick, actually, because this album cover is fucking kick-ass. I'm going to share the album cover. We're going to play a little bit of the first track that is now available if you go ahead and pre-order. It looks like digital only for this one. I'm going to bug them about that because I would like to get a vinyl, but we'll see how that goes. So this is from their new record, Alteration. And it is Luring Alluring Rings. My old man fuzzy eyes. Tiny screen. All right. So here we go. Let's listen to some Howling Giant.
So this could take the place of me having to listen to King Buffalo every night.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, not that I mind, but
vocals are different.
This is a good music to put on the background while you're working.
Vocals are different too, and they just really tight, polished, stony space rock vibe. They mix it up a little bit. Sometimes you'll hear some horns, always a little bit of keyboards. So it's a little bit of a different flavor.
Nice.
And very, very good. I played with a show with them in Fort Worth, Texas.
Big shot.
Division Brewing. Oh yeah, big shot. Got to meet them, and it was a killer night. They're incredible live. So when the shows are back and they come through your town, I'd highly recommend going to see them. And let's go ahead and
talk to them.
Since we have all of them, let's
do it.
Admit them into the room. What's up? We got a Seabass, we got a Zach, and a Tom. How's it going, guys?
Yay! What's up, fellers?
What's up, everybody?
We just gave the audience a little preview of the first track from the record you guys just released, or
nice.
put on pre-order. Sounds great, man.
Thank you.
So what's the story behind that? Is that what you guys spent your time during the pandemic working on, or was it something that was already in the works?
Man, I mean, we've been doing a ton, I feel like, but probably the most important thing we have been doing is just the Twitch streaming and jamming. And we've been doing a ton of writing for a full length, but this particular release was just based on like live jams we did on Twitch, and some of them turned out pretty sick. So we were like, let's go.
Nice.
Let's track.
So you're like, let's turn those into songs.
So
Yeah.
look, the very first thought we had was, man, this sounds like a King Buffalo record, because every one of those songs evolved out of a live jam. I mean, just the way they proceed, the way they ride that like single bass line typically, and then kind of explore different dynamics and throw in subtle changes, but not the big hard changes. You can tell that's a jam. Like those are all jam derived songs. So that makes sense now.
I think we also wanted to keep it true to the fans that were listening on those streams as well. Just so they kind of have that cool experience of, oh yeah, I remember that riff. I was there when it was, conceived. So that's kind of a cool thing for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's super cool. I'm gonna have to pump you guys for info at some point, because we have 11 and 13-year-old children who are actually, and I have an 18-year-old too, and they're all obsessed with Twitch. And
get them on, man.
The 13-year-olds want a channel, so I'm going to get them set up so that they can do whatever crazy bullshit they want to do on Twitch. But it's one of the like platforms that I've sort of missed, and I'm usually on top of that kind of shit, but I just haven't had the time to sort it out. So I'm going to have to figure Twitch out.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, but it's super cool right now. It still kind of feels like it's, coming up, especially for bands and like the music side of the Twitch world, I mean, we're still figuring it out. Like, we don't really know what we're doing, but it's been fun.
Do you get like with the sort of the data analytics that come with it? Does it show you sort of the demographic of the people that are tuning in? Is it the usual same? If so, is it the same demographic that goes to your shows, or is it skewing younger because it is Twitch?
I don't know how much they break that part down, but we have noticed there are, like, we have kind of a regular crew that shows up for whatever we do. But some of the Twitch people, like, they just pop in and out, and like, I'll do drum requests, just like name a song on Thursdays, so I'll take requests, and Tom does a guitar stream on Wednesdays, and those tend to be a little more of the random people showing up, but it's a lot of the younger crowd. It's not the same demographic as the show.
You can tell when someone's on because they know about Howling Giant and want to see what we're up to, and they'll say like, hey, I saw you guys in, San Antonio or like New England or whatever. And then you get people who you can tell are just straight up cruising Twitch to find something new. And that creates, I think, an interesting dynamic to play to. But it's cool. I like the mashup, I like having both of those audiences involved.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. I actually was just watching your drum stream from last Thursday. So all right, what are these guys doing here? I gotta check this out. It's really cool. I mean, I saw that you're doing 4 days a week. That's intense. It's a serious commitment, but that's what you have to do if you actually want to build an audience.
Yeah, and when when everything shut down, we all worked at bars, so work was just gone too. Aside from just the music, our regular work was gone. So So we were like, we got to do something, and it helped establish some consistency with the band. And I think that kept us sane through this whole experience. And that really helped. I mean, I know.
Put sane in quotes.
Well, yes, that's true.
Sure. But like relatively focused, you know?
Yeah. Well, and just able to play some live shows, and the jamming specifically on the Saturdays that we'll do is just, it's nice to be able to explore a new space, especially when it comes to creating songwriting. It's not our usual formula.
Well, and that's what's been cool, I think, about Alteration in general, is like all of our full lengths or, you know, focused releases, there's so much refining of these songs and like trying to create a traditional song form and figuring out how it flows. Whereas these ones, you know, like we were talking earlier about almost the King Buffalo style approach, they're much more born of a jam and feel like a jam, which is a cool thing for us to kind of practice and explore.
Well, and then you can kind of integrate that back into the traditional forms of writing, because you can pluck parts of the jams, you know, that you're not recording and sending out to the world and kind of weave them into stuff that you're writing. That tends to be our process, is a little bit of both, right? It's a little bit of stuff that we bring into the room already kind of crafted, and then stuff that we just sort of jam out in the moment and figure out.
You could kind of just pick and choose whatever you want. It just makes it really easy that you have all the videos right there, and all you have to do is just kind of look back over the past couple months and just say, oh, that was cool, that wasn't so good, maybe if we put these together they'll sound all right.
Is that, have you ever I don't even know if you can take a video down from Twitch, but has there ever been something where you're like, ooh, I don't know about that one?
Let's get that one off of there.
Big time, but I think part of the magic is that there are some duds, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta leave them up, be like, hey, you know, this is who we are, and we're not perfect. We're gonna blow it sometimes.
I think that's the beauty of a lot of the music streamers too, is like, it was hard for us to wrap our heads around in the beginning, because we thought, this is a show, this is a performance, we need to nail it,
it's
like we
used
to be on. But it's pretty loose across all the musicians. You'll notice people all the time just be like, oh, stop, I screwed that up, let's restart, or let me figure this out real quick. And I think a part of the joy for some of the viewers is that you're watching somebody pick through something, you know?
It becomes a long form sort of a hang, you know? You're not confined to a 30-minute set that needs to be flawless. It's like, dude, take your time, see what the process is, you know, watch the mistakes and everything.
Yeah, this podcast has sort of evolved that way too, frankly. I mean, it like, we had an idea, we had a concept, which was, hey, let's listen to shit we've never listened to before live and see what we think of it. There's tons of React videos on YouTube, but it's all like, you know, guy listens to Black Sabbath for the first time. But that's you know, an experience that not many people can have. But when we're playing underground music that's randomly submitted, it's shit that no one's heard. And we've unearthed some gems, but then it's really just turned into a hang, kind of. And the people that listen to it regularly just kind of want to hear friends talk about music and talk about the process a little bit. So it's sort of over 30 episodes, it's sort of evolved a bit since the beginning, which has been fun.
Slightly.
Yeah. So lightly. So
are you guys all in the, like, would you do these from your studio, from one of your houses?
Yeah, this is Zach's house. Me and Zach are in the basement, and Sebastian's upstairs in the same house right now.
Nice.
So we've got usually my wife records and mixes all of our records, and when she's around, when she's not working, she'll, you know, sound check us and everything else. But she's usually up in that room. We've got a just 16-channel snake running from the basement all the way to that. That's our control room. And, and then, just pretty much back here, we're just in the practice room. So,
that's awesome.
Oh, that's
we're just wired up.
Wow,
nice.
Man.
So it's a house studio.
I have never heard the words.
It is literally a home studio.
I've never heard the words, my wife records and mixes all of our music. That's fucking awesome.
That is awesome.
Everything's pretty in-house. You know, Tom's mom does a lot of the artwork, like for Alteration, for the Black Hole Space Wizard stuff, for the first EP.
Oh, wow. I was going to ask who did that art for Alteration. It's really cool.
Yeah, she also did the gatefold art for Space Between Worlds.
Mm-hmm. So the Alteration art was actually like, apparently it was throwaway art. I told my mom, I hit her up at the last minute, was like, we just need something like psychedelic. She was like, well, I was going to like throw these away. And she just showed that. I was like, that is so sick. And she's like, you can use it if you want. Like, this was just me testing colors, and that was it. And I was like, that is so
That's
sick.
so cool.
Like, let me use that.
It looks much more intentional than that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
She's good.
That's awesome.
It is a family affair.
So man, so now I have a million questions. So what's it been like where you guys are for the pandemic? You guys are all in Nashville, right?
Yeah.
Dude, Nashville's bad. Nashville's a rough scene. Big time. Mm-hmm.
You have, I would imagine you have a weird mix because you have a creative and artistic community and a lot of, people that maybe have sort of one mind about the world. And then, you're in Tennessee, which I have been in Tennessee multiple times. Yeah. And I know what a lot of folks are like in Tennessee. So I can imagine it's a little bit of a tug.
In Nashville, it's kind of, it's a little bit different because it's such a melting pot. Yeah. Here from all over. But obviously there's just a ton of musicians and a lot of venues that have been affected by the pandemic. Yeah. And so that's really sucked. But the tourism industry in Nashville has continued to go on, and people are still going out and drinking and having fun. But,
which is a big reason why I think Nashville, specifically Tennessee, is like one of the worst states to be in. So we kind of had to early on basically say we're not going to see anyone else but like us three. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I'm doing like shipped order shopping and we're just like full gear.
We locked down so that we could do the Twitch stuff, so that we could work on records and everything else. We're like, okay, we're gonna use this,
Yeah, it's exactly what the two of us did. I mean, we're in the Bay Area, which is highly compliant. I mean, literally in the city that we're in, bars were just allowed to, if you're a bar only, not a restaurant, just allowed to open like 3 weeks ago. Since March of last year. And only outside. So that's
awesome. I wish it was that way. You do have to almost be careful, it feels like, in Tennessee sometimes when you're talking about your opinion of like mask mandates and the pandemic. It's like, dude, you should wear like a mask and you should just not be going to a bar right now. You know what I mean? But people will they think it's an infringement on freedom. And so you have to be like really careful. That's the way it feels to me sometimes,
Yeah, I've certainly been happy to not be in that situation where I feel like I have to defend my choices every time I go somewhere. But yeah, we settled in. Our kids are friends, and it's like, all right, here's our group until things change. Which I have my Band-Aid for my first shot on what day was that? Thursday. Yeah,
so I'm getting my second one on Monday, I think. Just in a couple days.
I went yesterday.
Nice. I went on Thursday.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's it was a weird feeling because it was like, man, this is actually something. Things are gonna change. Like if everybody just does it, then we can. Like I bought tickets to the King. We bought tickets to the King Buffalo show, and
we bought those last February, but
they carry over. But I mean that's in September. When we talked to Santos from Old Man Gloom, he said that Psycho sent out an email that Psycho is happening. That Evan, are you guys playing Psycho?
Not this year. We did kind of like a big stint of them leading up to it because we did those 2 Psychos in a row and the Smoke. I think they're tired of us. So.
No, we're gonna get our way back in. I'm trying to find a way to be like, dude, I just want to go with our label, head and be like, can we
we might just try to go to hang or something. See buddies.
Oh, it's incredible. I mean, it is an incredible hang. Even if you're just there to see everyone, it's such a weird like family environment to see everybody from all over the world that you might run into, on tour. And talk for an hour or half hour or 45 minutes to actually like be locked down in a place.
Take a whole weekend
for a whole weekend. It's really cool.
Man, it's so funny though because it's it is great where you see those people and you see friends from the road, but for about 4 days it's just all a giant haze. And then you don't remember anything afterwards. So it's super cool, but then
Yeah, we made actually both years we made a really conscious choice to like lay way back on the drinking.
Yeah.
And even really back on too much weed so that we would like be present and like and not go like sleep through a set because like we were there to see music. So it was like let's just make a commitment to make sure we see and remember as much as possible.
I feel like I'm the same way, but I feel like we had to make the exception for there's always like a night at least where it's like, dude, we're going to see like Electric Wizard right now.
Sure.
Like we got to be kind of blasted for this one. Like, you know. But besides that, especially discovering like new stuff, I like to be, able to like remember and dial in. You know.
Well, the first year we went, we were in and out. We played, we left. We were on tour. Mm-hmm. And then we told our booking agent in, 2019 for that one, we were like, we'd like to attend the whole weekend. So, like, just book after the fact. So, and we played the pool party that year. So we were there early and could stay for the whole thing, which is awesome.
That's got to be the best. That's got to be the best spot is play Thursday, have the whole weekend to hang out.
Dude, it was fun.
Amazing.
Just get it done. And then
what year did you guys play the pool party?
2019.
2019, so we didn't go 2019.
That was the first year at
Mandalay Bay.
At Mandalay Bay, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It was hot as hell because we played at 3 p.m. in that outdoor stage.
Man.
I think it was 100
in August.
Yeah, 110 or 115 degrees.
About past.
Dude, I was burning my fingers on the tuning pegs. My
tuning
pegs were just like straight up like molten.
I remember
and it's not like
we
they
were
could turn on misters or anything, right?
I know. I was like, dude,
wet your gear down.
Yeah, wet your gear down.
We were all kind of huddled backstage before we went on. We found the only shade that we could find was
just
in
the
bathroom. Yeah, tiny little cove right by the bathroom. And so we're all kind of like huddled in there trying to tune our guitars, be like, all right, I guess this sounds okay. Let's go.
Oh, man.
Oh, so the stage is like full sun. I've seen that stage at Mandalay before, but I figured they'd set up some shade or something for you guys.
There's a little bit on stage.
Oh, there was?
If you're on stage, you've got some shade, but you could, like, looking out at the audience, at first we didn't think there was much of a turnout for our set because there's no one in the front row.
No.
And we didn't realize until it's because, like, dude, the sun is black. Like, you look back and it's like, man, the pool is packed. All of the alcoves are absolutely packed. The bar is packed. But this area right in the front was, like, no protection from the sun. It's like, dude, no one's standing there because you would die.
Yeah. There'd be a tree. There'd be a tree casting a shadow, and there'd be
people
like would be lined up in the shadow, like
you get like a line of people just taking up the shadow of this like tree or some shit. And it's like
a line.
Yeah. It's very strange.
At the Hard Rock, that front area would fill in, but it's still both years we went to the Hard Rock, it was so fucking hot. Like when you walk out at 9:00 at night and it's still 100 degrees outside, and you're just like, what kind of hellscape is this?
Yeah.
Why are we here?
You know, part of that I feel like added to the experience, like the whole surreal nature of being there was like, dude, like we got to meet all of our friends from bands that we love, see these bands and musicians that we idolize, and it was 110 fucking degrees and we were dying, and also like it was all part of the legendary nature of being there, even though it was like pretty nuts. It was just like that was like nothing else, you know.
Did you guys catch any of the late night sets that were at that stage that's like right in the middle of the casino? Like
the Andrew WK DJ set?
Yeah, or 2 minutes to late night.
Yeah, we got 2 minutes to late night. And man, I'm trying to remember some of the other bands that played, but it was cool, man.
Because I've told this before, but I go there a ton for work, and it's always for some stupid convention, and that's the stage where like all the conventioneers who are hammered at the end of the night go to listen and dance to like shitty cover bands, and it's always like 4 dudes like pressing up on the one woman that's like drunk and dancing. It's just such an ugly scene. So I would
sounds
love
uncomfortable.
Oh, it is. So I would love to see it like not be shitty, like to be see it be cool and not be a terrible cover band, but 2 minutes to late night doing covers.
Dude, that was a great show. They did a live show. We did an interview with them for that, and that was a weird.
It was a weird interview.
But it was fun.
They were very nice, but I was like, man, strange. But let's
we've never done anything like that before. Just like, what are they gonna do to us?
Here's what was interesting is like I feel like we went in being like we should have a bit. Like we're a band, like we're going, but they had basically planned a bit. So we realized this was probably a horrible interview because we're like, we have these competing bits right now. Like, we're thinking we should be hilarious, and they're like, no, we're going to make you hilarious.
Well, I think our bit was just bringing in Sebastian as high as he could get, and we were the straight men.
I mean, to be fair, that's kind of the bit wherever we go. I do remember, though, one thing about that interview. In the middle of the interview, we heard like screaming from the other room, and we all just kind of stopped and we're like, what the hell is going on? There's somebody just screaming in the other room. And the camera guy was like, oh man, don't worry about it. It's just Matt Pike's wedding.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was cool.
Cool.
That's hilarious. So besides Jordan, who else was there for them doing the interview, or was it just
was it
Garcinia?
Was it the whole crew?
Was it Hard Melissa there? Because that
no, it was just Garcinio, and then
their film
and
crew, right?
Drew was kind of running the thing from behind the scenes. So
gotcha.
He came in his classic the Kevin costume.
Yes.
The flipped hat. Yeah, so he was there, but it was pretty much like psychoanalyzing Psycho Las Vegas. So they were setting us down. And they did that with a bunch of different bands.
Yeah, I watched a few of those actually. I might have even watched yours, and if I did, it didn't stand out to me as being extra weird or bad. So.
Perfect.
Yeah, no, we had Jordan on here, and it was funny to like have a conversation with him when most of my interaction with him has been watching him as the character.
Yeah.
But then he's different, but he's similar. It was like it took me a minute to adjust to this is what the guy's really like.
Still high energy, but no makeup and just him.
Yeah.
It was Jordan. It wasn't Garcinia.
Well, he asked me. He's like, "Do you want me to do this in the makeup?" And I'm like, "Nah, man, you don't have to." He's like, "Okay, good." Thank you.
Yeah.
Although I really wanted to put on the makeup.
Yeah. Well, it is funny too seeing that sort of thing behind the scenes versus the live show, because like you'd have Drew and some of the other crew think of something funny and be like, okay, we're cutting this up, say this funny thing, and that would be like, it was just a different experience. But then when they go down live and it's so off the cuff at the same time, it's like they know how to nail it for both things, the live thing and the pre-recorded thing,
Yeah. I love that blend of music and comedy, and I don't think it's used enough. And he's just an interesting case because he seems to be on this like dual path of like you forget until he plays a song like he's a really talented musician on because he writes most of those arrangements for the bedroom covers. He arranges everything and sends them out except for a few songs that were done by other people. And then you catch one of the St. Vitus shows like where they played More Than a Feeling or Long Time. I know there's a couple covers and he's just like ripping these crazy solos and you're like, oh yeah, he's like funny, he's smart, he's fucking on the ball because he created this he's living off of 2 Minutes to Late Night. He doesn't work a job anymore. And oh yeah, by the way, he's also like a killer guitar player. And a comedy nerd. Like he's like he got Janine Garofalo on the last episode of the last season. Like he's on the ball on multiple fronts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They just released a St. Vitus EP, if I'm correct, right?
Just a live one, yeah. Every Bandcamp Friday they do one, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Whether it's the covers or the live stuff.
Yeah, they went back and took some of those really good St. Vitus covers, and because there are some incredible. I mean, I've been watching that show since the beginning, just blown away by, like the Wrecking Ball cover. I think was maybe the first thing I heard with Mulaney from Royal Thunder.
Yeah.
And,
it
was like so awesome that someone would do that. So
I got to go back and watch some of those. I haven't seen enough. I've seen a couple.
Dude.
I always feel like whenever I see, I'm blown away by his playing, and I want every guitar that I've ever seen him play. All those Dunables, I feel like him and his crew, just all have a sick Dunable.
Well, yeah, and
I want it.
Partially because the backing band is actually just Mutoid Man.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And so I'm pretty sure Steve plays all Dunables now. He's got that. There's one that he plays that I love that's like all white with like a red arcade kill switch on the front, so that actually sick. I had a bass built and I had one of those kill buttons put on because it's like,
dude, it seems fun. Yeah, I want one. It just seems like a blast, dude.
Well, and if you run like a hot rig, if you're playing like an actual tube overdrive rig and you have fuzz running, your shit makes noise if you just stand still and hold the strings. It's like impossible to make it actually go quiet. So if you want to be quiet, you either got to roll off the volume, but that kill switch is great because as soon as you let go, you're like back at full steam. That's a lot of fun. Yeah, those Dunables are killer. All those guitars are great. Yeah, he's got there's a good collection, but there's some really. I would go back and listen to all the covers. There's a great Purple Rain. The Boston one is killer. There's a great Iron Maiden. The singer from Husbandry sings one song that's amazing. There's such a good crew up in that area that they can just pull the guy from Dave from, it's like a technical death metal band.
They got Dave on this one.
Dave, man.
When they bring Dave on. It is insane.
So the formula of this is in 10 minutes, I'll remember it, and I'll just shout out a name. Then
Dave Lombardo.
No, it wasn't Dave Lombardo.
You're kind of like Tarantinoing it, you know, like you're telling us it's Dave, and then you're gonna come back to this plot, after the fact.
We're gonna do it the whole thing in different time order.
Yeah.
So this is actually the end. So let's go ahead and start recording the beginning.
Perfect.
So are you guys all from Tennessee?
None of us originally, except for Marshall, our key player, who's not here today. He was born in Tennessee.
He's a rare breed. He's a unicorn in these parts. There are very few native Nashvillians, but Marshall was born and raised here.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Where are you all from then? How did you all end up in Tennessee?
Well, I'm a Philadelphia guy originally, and I moved down here about 10 years ago to go to school, and then I just ended up staying. I'd studied music business, so there's kind of no other place you really should be other than Nashville if you want to be in the music business.
Nice.
Is there much of a scene for like kind of what you guys are doing?
Heavy music.
Yeah, what's it like?
Kind of. It's changed over the years. I feel like there are always bands who are interested in heavy stuff, but it's never felt like there's a strong stoner or doom scene or like desert scene. There used to be a strong like black metal scene, I guess, back in the day.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like 15 years ago.
15 years ago. And we knew some friends that were kind of involved in that, which was, super cool. But I don't know. I mean, there are just so many different musicians and people interested in like recording stuff that you kind of just find a little bit of everything.
There's a lot more psych rock these days, like blending in with that indie scene.
Yeah.
The whole East Nashville thing. So like we'll play those shows. Like we'll be the heaviest band there, but like we're like it's still
we're one of two ways. We're either like the heaviest band there, or you're playing on like a remnants of a black metal bill or something like that, where you're like the lightest, like
listen to these wussies with their harmonies.
I find that there's not a ton, there's not like a ton of in between of just like heavy rock.
We had a bunch of buddies playing in bands for a while, but a lot of them aren't doing as much. Like
well, everybody's figuring out what they're doing in this time now.
True.
This year.
And so like no fault on anyone for just like, dude, take a minute and chill and come back at it,
Yeah.
It kind of seems like one of those places that would have, if it's not country or folk or something like that, that maybe it's like an All Them Witches vibe.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Definitely.
Well, dude, and that exists. I mean, All Them Witches are awesome. Oganali are super cool. If you guys have checked them out, they're definitely worth checking out. Super cool. Band called Lacquer is really cool, kind of heavier psych, and they're all kind of homies. And
Black Moon Mother,
super rad.
Lacquer, like LAQUER, like you're gonna lacquer something.
Yeah, is it CQ? Right? It's CQ.
I think
got
it's CQ.
Yeah, CQ. Yeah, because that's the proper way to spell
7th grade spelling bee champion.
Nice, dude. Nice. Yeah, they. And then Bloodroot is another sick band I've been listening to right now, but they're a little. I think they're maybe not like quite as heavy at times as a band like Lacquer or even Black Moon Mother could be, but really cool psych stuff. Like that psych rock scene is going strong right now.
That has definitely kind of even touched the mainstream a little bit. Like you have indie listeners who maybe wouldn't have given psych a chance in the past. It's like kind of popular right now, and then I'm hoping those people will bleed into heavier variations of psych so that they land on the doorstep of bands like you guys or somebody else and go, oh, this is really cool too.
Completely.
Between bands like All Them Witches and King Buffalo and Elder, like for that matter, they're kind of guiding a lot of that. It's All Them Witches really took the Nashville indie scene in this slightly heavier direction.
And I kind of like mashing up these genres quite a bit, and psych feels like an easy one to kind of superimpose, but really what it means is like you're exploring sounds that aren't like traditional Caius style, like desert rock or the sword style stoner metal. You know what I mean? Like once you start to just try something new, it feels like you start to apply psych in a way that people used to apply progressive on something like, you know, metal. So I don't really know what any of it means anymore, but you know.
No.
We make music.
Yeah. You'll see when we listen to the submissions. You know, when you look on Bandcamp, right, on your page, just to the far right under your band profile photo, there's that little section for description, and it's funny to see like the different takes on how much and what you want to say about your music there, and a lot of it comes down to what you think about genre and whether it's useful to try and explain to people what genre you come from. But I'm starting to lean more and more into just the bands that are like, we make music, or say something random in there that has nothing to do with
so
trying
I like that, and I think that's really cool, but I understand when people do put the genres, because at a certain point it's like, you don't need to live and die by this genre as the musician, but this does help people who are trying to discover you have like a point of reference.
Yeah,
so
I mean, marketing. That's
I can't fault anyone
out,
for being like, you know, we're gonna say that we are psych rock or psych metal, because it's gonna give you some reassurance that we're worth your time if you're interested in that genre.
Yeah. And that's sort of the birth of this whole idea, is like what gets you to press play. Like we, even before doing the podcast, I get tons of music submissions as part of a label, and like I just started wondering out loud, like, why do I open one email and press play and not the other? Like, what are the elements, and what happens if I just force myself to listen to something with no foreknowledge of what it's going to be, and kind of how does the hit rate for good versus bad, or things I like and don't like, change?
So what have you found? Is there anything that you've kind of been like drawn to, whether it's art versus the name versus the description?
Yeah, I mean, certainly the art, for me personally, art is huge. The cover art makes a big difference in whether I press play.
The branding.
You know what actually works the best for me is just, instead of talking about genre, the for fans of, and then just list 4 or 5 bands. Like if you like these bands, then you probably want to give this a try. I think that doesn't force you to pigeonhole anything. It allows you to sort of give people a mental picture without making any declaration. Like this, we think if you like this band, you'll also like us.
Yeah.
And that helps. I think it helps to get that, you know, you need a point of reference sometimes with a band. Like you're going to think about them very differently if you're keeping, like, you know, Baroness in the back of your mind or something like that.
Because it could be red and blue Baroness, it could be EP Baroness, or yellow and green, or purple and gold and gray. Like there's a whole spectrum there. So you're safe putting Baroness these days if you're a heavy band, right?
Seriously, you're gonna catch one of the references.
Just not purple.
But I mean, that's how it was, you know, like, I mean, still we go to record stores, but even back in the day when you were flipping through CDs and records and tapes, it was like, oh, this has a cool cover. Yeah. You know, maybe I'll like this.
Dude, I bought a record by a band with the sickest cover, and I hated it. I can't remember what they were called.
But, I mean, it doesn't always work.
Yeah, dude, but it was a sick cover. Man, I'm trying to remember what it was. I can't remember this band's name, but there was like this psychedelic-looking swordfish floating through like an underwater city, and I listened to it, and it was total garbage. And I'm like, that is the dopest album cover, though. And I bought it because of that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, and records have the equivalent, right? When you're like, if you've never done, you know, like package design or packaging for a record, you don't think about this very much, but that little sticker that goes over the plastic on the top, that's like your quick access into what this is, or why you might want to listen to it if you have no idea who they are, is essentially the same as the little blurb in Bandcamp. It's like, here's 10 words to like hook me in besides what you can see in the cover if you don't know who I am.
Yeah, definitely.
So you mentioned your label. What is the official label right now? Are you guys Ripple?
What even are we? We like
traveled outside of space, time, and labels.
Because we have a release through Ripple, so we're considered Ripple family with like Todd and the crew. We have the release through Blues Funeral for the Space Between Worlds, so we're super tight with Jad, you know what I mean? And we've done work with like Magnetic Eye at this point, so they're all pretty tight together. And
and to be talking about Jad works with Magnetic Eye, Ripple, and then has Blues Funeral. So
they're all different, but I feel like they're all...
We're really just a Jad Schickler guy, Really.
There you
go. Yeah. It's not
Jad,
the label, it's Jad.
Yeah, Jad's actually coming on. Jad's coming on in a couple weeks.
We're trying to get him on,
Yeah, we're trying to nail down a date.
Man, super cool dude. Yeah, you guys should definitely get him on here.
Yeah, we spent a long time at Psycho one day just talking to him about random shit. And Blues Funeral was really cool. And the cool thing now with Magnetic Eye and you know, being on board with that team is Magnetic Eye is now part of Prophecy, which is a European label, and with really, really strong European distro, which for a band like you guys is going to make all the difference in terms of actually moving records in the real world. That's where it all happens. Have you guys toured Europe?
We were about to, and then it all fell apart, man. We were supposed to go in April last year, right? Wasn't it April?
It was April. Yeah, we went through a real endeavor with this European tour, which, you know,
and we were on the fence.
But Buddy from Great Electric Quest, Glory or Death, of course, he was a huge help with us. Yeah, because of course, because he helps everybody. Because
he helps everyone.
Well, we had a booker originally who dropped the ball, right? And we straight up had to holler at Buddy, and he's like, I got this because I have connections.
Yeah, so it was like we were going, we had the plane tickets. The booker told us he had everything handled in November. And then in middle of January, he bailed and said, I have one show.
But I love that he dropped it. We had no time, and we literally like called up just like everybody. This hero squad of like, okay, who's willing to last minute book us? And Buddy, who do you know? And Buddy just was like, I got you. Give me like 2 days, and he just sends.
It was the hardest thing for me to let go too, because we were working on this thing from January to middle of March when everything was falling apart. I was like, we can do it,
and it was tough because at the time I feel like the world was telling us this, you know, COVID is like the flu. Don't worry about it. So we're thinking like, dude, whatever. We'll live in squalor and be fine.
So what if we get caught in northern Italy, you know, at a vineyard? I got my Nintendo Switch, and we're in a vineyard. So
we're ready to go.
Yeah. There you go.
But then it was like, man, when they shut down, you know, the airlines, we were like, okay.
But we are going to go back for sure.
That pretty much happened right after we called, because we were like up to like 3 weeks before we were about to leave, and we just had to make the decision on the spot, like we're just not going to do it. And then I'm pretty sure the week after was when they closed the airlines.
They kind of
so there was validation. That
was like, if we, you know, even if we still decide to go, that kind of cemented that decision.
Well, we were going to tour the UK. We did have a week and a half booked, absolutely, with Sergeant Thunderhoof. So we ended up, we're going to rebook that at some point whenever that's allowed. But those bookers eventually said, heard about your debacle with the rest of Europe. When you decide to come back over, we got you guys for the whole run. So now it's just like, okay.
Oh, nice.
But who knows how long that's going to be, because they're super behind there too. Like,
Yeah, they're now that it's time to vaccinate, it's like it's interesting that the positions have sort of flipped a little bit, and we're looking like we're actually on the ball. It doesn't feel like it when you try to book an appointment in California. And it's funny, like California and probably Texas and maybe Florida are more like, you know, small countries, or, you know, not even small countries. Like
I looked it up the other day. We would be the 37th largest country
in the world.
Wow.
So when you say like, hey, New Hampshire got everyone vaccinated, what's your problem, California? And you're like, yeah, there's 700,000 people in New Hampshire. There's more people in my city than that. So, but it felt insane booking appointments. But then going through, so we actually went to 2 different locations on Thursday because my wife had an appointment booked at one of the FEMA sites at the Oakland Coliseum on opening day, and the A's had a game and they were letting fans in, so that was a fucking nightmare. But then I went through like a smaller Kaiser clinic that was a totally different scene, but they were both like just machines, man, just cranking people through like crazy. It was
so
intense.
Quick. I thought we'd be ready for a crowd because they just opened 16 plus everybody on Wednesday here.
Dude, they were smooth.
It was, dude, I was in and out in 20 minutes or
My experience, I feel like they had a cheerleading squad for you too.
Yeah.
In Tennessee, I think they were just so happy for anyone who didn't think it was a host. You're like walking down there like,
everybody's
great day for the vaccine, you know, you're doing great. And I'm like, yes, let's go.
I am doing great.
It felt good. I was like, how can I get this in like every aspect of my life now? Walk outside.
I want a clapping tunnel everywhere I go.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
big time.
Just do it for others, and then it'll come back to you at some point.
It comes back.
That's
around.
actually a valid point. It feels like
Yes,
they
sir.
would think I'm mocking them when I really am just like, no.
No,
Good
really.
job exercising today. Some dude running down the street.
Like,
It's like,
don't do that to your Subway sandwich artist. You know?
Yeah.
great job making that sub.
Great fucking sandwich.
Yeah.
I was though, man. I felt so extra grateful that and through going through the line, I think you have to talk to 15 people to just check your appointment, tell you where they're trying to be so helpful. And it was just like, thank you so much for doing this. If they're paying you or if you're a volunteer, I don't care. Like thanking everybody twice. all
Yeah,
along the way.
seriously.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sticking me in the arm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It was good. So speaking of Buddy, he ends up coming up a lot because he's kind of worming his way into everything. But yeah, that experience that he had DIY booking their tour the previous summer was like I was on board with him that whole time.
Yeah.
I helped him and he was sort of giving me updates all along the way how it was going, because we were keeping the Thin Lizzy tribute moving forward. So he handed that off to me while he was gone for the summer. And fuck, man, he did that whole thing himself. Like a full DIY, and all you have to do is do that once, and then if you're smart, then you can book somebody a tour in Europe.
There are a few people I feel like when you're in the scene, when you meet someone who just works so hard at it that it just blows your mind. You're like, dude, you eat, sleep, you live this, and it's amazing. Buddy's one of them. I feel like Jad from the label side of things
For
is
sure.
another guy who's that.
He is.
I'm just
since the dawn of Stoner and Desert.
Yeah,
Man,
he's been there since the beginning.
Well, and in the beginning when we started, everyone we dealt with was so just barely had their shit together. You'd barely have a show. So when you finally meet people who are just on the game, I'm just yes, you're amazing. That's what we want to be about. Yes, we play in a scene that glorifies this psychedelic, kind of lo-fi rock and roll, and but it's dude, I don't know, working with people who are just on top of it is just inspiring for me, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And you tend to gravitate to each other too, because it was I met Buddy completely at random just because somebody else they were trying to book a show for the release of their first record, and he hit somebody he knew in San Jose up, and they couldn't help him out, and they passed him to me. And I hadn't even started booking shows again yet. I was just playing in a band and getting back into it. And he's like, "You want to book a show with these guys? I know they're cool." And I was like, "I don't know, maybe I do." Oh, okay. And then I within 15 minutes with Facebook, and I had a full lineup and a venue secured and a 4-band bill, and I was like, well, that's a lot easier than it used to be. Technology certainly made this a lot easier.
Big time.
And I talked to Buddy, and it was immediate. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be friends with we're gonna be friends, and we're gonna do stuff together. I could tell from second one that I worked with him, and he's never let me down. He's only exceeded my expectations. I probably let him down a few times, but
on top of that, he's just an all around just crazy good performer.
Big time.
I mean,
Oh, dude! Every time he climbs up on top of his rig in his socks,
with the
socks.
Dude, there's a while where he was wearing didn't he have
the Anubis head?
Anubis head or something. He's standing on his orange amp, just shirtless, and just
can't see shit.
Yeah.
But we had
standing on a wood thing with socks on. It's it
Yeah.
had to be so slippery.
we have a diagram for a Great Electric Quest stage setup that includes a bar that's anchored to the amps on both sides, and then goes across so he can hang upside down.
Yeah, you need it.
In this, because he did it once. They were playing a showcase in Oceanside, I think, for a label, and he fucking climbed up the rafters of the venue and hung upside down and shredded his guitar solo for probably Beers in Hell. I don't remember which song it was, but it was
Did you guys know when you agreed to do this podcast that we just
the Buddy cast?
We bring people on and we just talk about Buddy.
I'm down. I'm okay with it. The guy's amazing.
Here, I'll
I'm
call
just
him
like,
up.
dude, what can I be doing? Like, I'm just playing guitar is not enough. I need to like do your taxes for you at the same time to like bring it up to that next level. You know?
Hey, you're
And
on the
the
way. In
tour.
fact, Tom is an ordained minister, so like he'll
Oh,
just
good.
Oh,
that's
nice.
that's the game. you
I've
know?
offered, and people think I'm joking and never call me about it. I'm like, no, I will
marry you.
make your union official with the law. As long as I think you're in Tennessee. I think you have to be in Tennessee.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
no,
if
you're good. You're nationwide.
Didn't I have to go through some shit though to certify your wedding? Just through.
Yeah. Tom married me and my wife. So,
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Is that the
Well-
whatever Unitarian Universalist license?
Universal
Is it?
Life
the
Church.
Universal Life Church. That's
Yeah.
it.
Brother
Yeah.
Thomas.
I'd appreciate if you took it seriously.
Brother.
You know,
Sorry.
This is really important to me. This is my religion.
You made Kim's mom and you made my mom cry. So like you did a great job.
I did
you
a
know?
great job. I cleaned up. I looked good.
Did you do it like stage banter style?
I wasn't.
Like
I
with the
wasn't
flying
engaging
V?
in banter with like the parents. You know.
Yeah.
No moshing.
Yeah.
No moshing.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh,
But
yeah,
one of these days we'll get the full package going where I can officiate a wedding, play the after party, you know,
Yeah.
buy our merch. I know this day's about you, but it would really help put some gas in the tank.
I've got 3
You buy a
packages you
t-shirt.
can choose from.
No,
Yeah.
you do wedding. You sell wedding merch. Do like do a band shirt for the wedding. Oh
Yes.
man.
Oh,
now
like
I want to get
gift,
married
like
again.
the party gift for any member. It's like
We've had a
you get
couple couples on the stream that have just like this is our 10th anniversary today. Like we're watching your stream, so we offer
really?
the package every time. It's
Yeah.
like, well, when we can come out, you know, get the package going.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I mean,
if
if you
Renew
go to,
your vows. I'll do it. Yeah.
yeah, if you go to culinary school, you could also cater.
Zach, that's on you or Seabass.
There you go.
See that
Dibs.
business?
I'll do
Yeah.
that one. I'll cater.
Yeah.
We were doing a cooking stream as well, so we're really stretching the parameters.
I'm
of what
just like,
Howling
how
Giant
can I
do
make
for
some
you?
damn money? You know, as a band, you got to do it all, baby. You know?
Yeah.
Howling Giant event services. Like,
Yeah, right.
Oh, I picture.
What you
did
need to do.
There's a show that's like Party Down. Did you guys ever watch Party Down?
No.
It's
Yeah.
it's kind of like The Office. It's a workplace comedy, but it's about like a group of losers who run a catering business, and so every episode is like them fucking up a different event of some sort, and it's
boy.
Adam Scott. It's a bunch of comedy people that you would recognize,
And
and it was
from the office, or not office, but like Parks and Rec, like
Yeah.
pre Parks and
Yeah.
Rec.
well, it's all UCB people.
Yeah,
if you
UCB
know,
people.
Upright Citizens Brigade is the like improv troupe. They teach classes in San Francisco and New York City, I think. But like Amy Poehler, that whole gang of people is all UCB. But what it was good is the channel that was on. It was not on regular TV, so it's like R-rated. So it's like
Nice.
it's a little saltier than the
a
Office
little
or
saltier.
Office
Yeah.
or Parks and Rec ever was. It's really good, but that's how I picture if a band decided to go into the event services business. Somebody's always like locked in a refrigerator, fucking or smoking weed or something.
Everybody's
You know
always
what?
high.
I say
Yeah.
we joke about it now, but if there was to be a band that would go into event services, it would be Howling Giant.
I
It's
feel
you
like we
guys.
do it.
It would be
Yeah,
us.
Big time.
You know how to mix drinks, apparently.
Big
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
We do it.
We're bartenders. We're licensed still, I think.
I haven't checked. It's been a while.
Yeah. So when will you start working again, or will you?
I don't know. I think the goal obviously is to find out if there's a way to just make money as the band in any way you can and
Yeah.
avoid having to go back. Or if you do have to go back to work.
In a more limited capacity rather than
I mean, at
full-time,
a certain
like,
point, I feel like I was just looking at how much of my week went into a place that I just like was desperate to get out of every day
Yeah.
that I was there. And so as much as this like whole pandemic has been a really horrible experience in some ways, it showed me like, dude, here's how much time exists and here are all these things you can do. You know, not to say you should feel obligated to. I think a lot of musicians and artists felt like a lot of pressure to produce something.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think it just showed me that like there was too much time spent at a dead end job that wasn't helping me do something cool.
How do we get everything in our lives to feed each other, the band in itself? You know, I started doing a little bit of work for Jad and a little bit of work for Purple Sage recently, the PR company. So I just kind of started reaching out to these people and taking just small little odd jobs. And I'm like, man, I'm learning so much from each of you.
Yep.
And I can apply that to the band. It's cool that I get a little bit of pay out of it. You know, it's these jobs are fueling the band, not just the cash that I'm picking up, not just the paycheck, but like
the
every
work
little
itself.
bit. Yeah.
No, that's really smart. And the people, I mean, because let's face it, very few bands in this scene are ever going to get above a certain level. And there's a level at which you can exist just off of the music. But I mean, this is, unless something crazy happens, we're not going to have a breakout that gets to like, you know, mainstream level, or even like a Mastodon level. If you picture that as the peak of what a band like you guys could achieve, there's, you know, a couple bands in the next 20 years that,
you know what I think is interesting though.
But the point is that you will never be. But the point is you don't have to be.
You don't have to be. I think what we've been
way
finding
beyond what's necessary. Yeah.
Through this weird like Twitch thing, not that it's blown up, but you find such a core like dedicated following. It's like, man, you don't need to blow up. You just need people who are like going to show up every time, and you can have a smaller crew that's just going to support everything you do.
I bring it up in every interview, podcast, whatever, but 1,000 true fans. Like there's an article about having 1,000 true fans, and that's what a band needs technically and in theory to have a full-time, you know, gig.
Like obviously it'd be sick to get to that Mastodon level, but at the same time, like you just want to make enough to be happy and make what you want to make. And you know,
and those guys have a lot of days where they wish they weren't at Mastodon level. If you're being honest, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like there are burdens that come with that too. And I think there's a cool in between that you don't hear much about. I think like even they're a model for me in general. But even for this kind of thing, the Melvins, right? Like, Buzz hasn't worked a job outside of anything related to music for 25 years. Most people don't know who the Melvins are, but they don't have to. And they just keep themselves involved in so many aspects of the business that it all... And all the people that we talk to in this scene that are successful and happy are multitaskers. They do lots of different stuff in the business. Yeah. Tony Reed from Moz Generator, dude. Tony Reed is like... has my dream life.
Everywhere.
Is he mastering?
He's mastering Alteration. Yeah. So we just put a quick master on the single to get it out the other day, but he's gonna do the mastering.
He's gonna do like the pro finish one.
He did our split, the Turn to Stone. With
he does most of the Ripple. He does a good chunk of the mastering for Ripple in general.
Yeah.
But then I know him pretty well, and they went on tour with Fu Manchu once, and he and Bob just hit it off, and they were like, it was kind of like a how do we not know each other already thing, because Tony was just quiet for a while. It's cool to see somebody who's older than me, over 50, like come into their own in music and be accepted and have great success like much later in life is so cool. But so he and Bob hit it off, and so they got invited on the next Fu Manchu tour, and all you have to do is spend 10 minutes with Tony, and you're like, oh no, this guy's the real deal. He's super nice. He knows everything there is to know about music. He can engineer. He can play every instrument known to man. He can sing. He has an encyclopedic knowledge of all. Like, why would you not want to be in a band with him if you just met him and spent 10 minutes with him? And that's why Big Scenic Nowhere happened. He just got invited down there to do some session work for that first recording that they did, and now he's like a full-blown core member of the band, because it's like, hey, can someone add some synth here? And Tony's like, yeah, I got it. Like, can you sing this harmony here? Yeah, I got that too. Like, whatever you need, he's got it. Have you guys ever met him?
Couple times, real quick whenever it is.
Super nice guy though. We had a burger with him in Indianapolis,
right?
Yeah, we did. Yeah. One of those ridiculous like rock and roll
Kumas.
Kumas, they make like the metal burgers.
Kumas is the best.
The High on Fire.
Dude, I had I had the Truck Fighters one, I think, which had like French toast or something like that.
That was amazing.
Dude, it was sick. It was huge, but
what? And like, because like if you walked into a metal burger place and looked at the menu, you're going to know right away whether whoever's involved in this thing is down or not. Like if they really know what they're doing or not. You got a Truck Fighters burger on your menu, you're probably pretty deep into the scene.
Oh,
That's not like a thing that the average person knows a goddamn thing about.
Yob burger.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, yeah.
They just did a crazy mac and cheese for Wisconsin. Since that's coming out soon, which makes sense.
That's right.
Yeah, they got Wisconsin.
It. You mentioned Purple Sage. We were talking about just this yesterday because we're on their mailing list too, but we have no idea who's behind it. Like who runs Purple Sage?
It's a mystery.
Mystery.
No one will.
Oh, really? Know. Like nobody knows.
No. Claire Bernadette. She's from France.
Okay. Yeah. I thought it was European.
Yeah. So she does all of Heavy Psych Sounds and Ripple. And then I think she's doing some stuff for Jad for Blues Funeral coming up as well. So she's kind of been like she is the label's go-to person for a lot of stuff.
Gotcha.
And then there's a couple one-offs. So yeah. But she's kicking ass out there.
Yeah.
Like there are a lot of releases. So yeah.
And it's not even just the releases too. Like I was telling, Jeff, we get emails for like, so-and-so does a playthrough and the video's out now. And you're like, oh, okay. Wow, you are all over it. Like it's not just releases.
And she's really good at, it's hard when there are so many stoner metal bands. There are a lot of descriptors like talking about genre that are the same over and over again.
Yeah.
Doomy, heavy, blah, blah, blah. But she is really good at taking creative spins on every single band, finding the thing that makes that band unique, and really highlighting that. So she's a brilliant writer as well, which is really cool.
You notice he just outed me for not reading our email. I was just telling Jeff about this email that came to the inbox that you have access to.
But yes, listeners, I man the email. No.
I use it to send invites for recording sessions. I mean, she's definitely kicking ass. I feel like the other person who I always, and when we interviewed him, I said this, I always trust his descriptions of a band is JJ from the Obelisk.
Yeah. Oh, big
time. JJ creates such a unique picture of what any particular band sounds like that you're gonna know. And we talked about it because he said it's like he wants you to know what it feels like to listen to the music. He's not trying to describe the
he
sound.
Is, I think, just such an important member within the scene. Like, just the amount that he cares about discovering and describing new music to you is unparalleled, in my opinion. This dude is like all in. Yeah. He's a treasure as far as I'm concerned.
When you see him at something like Psycho, he doesn't have time to talk to you because he's shuffling.
So tired.
He seems wrecked. He's shuffling from set to set, but he does a write-up for every single band there.
Dude,
it's insane.
The scribe, he just had this, like, I'm sure it was all digital, but I just imagine him with like a stack of paper, like,
yellowed
quill, and just like
a quill.
He was. I had talked to him before, but only really briefly. But when we recorded the episode with him, he's also like really funny.
He's great.
It was really like
smart.
Like I picture, he's the writer guy, so his communication quality is all in the written word. But no, man, he was funny as hell.
Yeah, big time.
It was a really entertaining episode.
He offered to review our coffee when we released. We had some coffee roasted for us. He's like, I would do a review for that. I know I usually do bands, but like, so we sent him some coffee. We were like,
he's done a couple coffee reviews in the past, but I was like, dude.
Yeah, apparently he didn't just do it. He wasn't just trying to get coffee. He's like, I do coffee reviews as well. So
maybe we should start doing that. Well, you don't like coffee.
I don't like coffee.
God, I love coffee.
You're missing out, man.
That just blind. I'll have coffee and just taste them all.
Well, no. The obvious lane for us is we'll review your goddamn band hot sauce. Because every band has a hot sauce, and because we made hot sauce.
Yeah.
So send us your hot sauce,
dude. We're deep in the hot sauce game. I get my pepper garden going. Tom really started it a few years back, and then
I had an insane pepper garden, all in 5-gallon buckets, like food safe. Like I was living at a house where the guy was renting it from was like, no, you can't start a garden. So I bought like 12 of these buckets and just had like all these different peppers. And it was actually great because you could move them to the best sun get them out when it was storming, and so I just had these like amazing fucking peppers.
Oh, you must
So
with
good.
the humidity. You must be able to. I grow a ton, but it's not humid here, so you have to be prepared to go out and mist them like crazy, which I do when, especially
Tennessee is great for peppers, and
Perfect,
I mean,
Yeah.
you do get better peppers in my opinion if you let them dry out for a little bit. At least I felt like that. Like when I was over watering them, they would grow well, but they didn't get like crazy hot. The best peppers were ones that you just like almost neglect for a little bit, and they have to like those roots have to really dig down for it. And when you finally water them, they're just like, dude, they're amazing.
Well, and
It's the same with wine.
Yeah, I mean that's plants, right?
Yeah.
The whole idea is to get animals to eat the fruit to spread the seeds. So when they struggle, they produce the most glorious fruit because they're trying to make sure that somebody comes and eats it and spreads the seeds. So like the best wine is not in the flat field that gets tons of water. It's kind of like on the banks or on the side or somewhere where it's struggling to get they get more sugar in the grapes or some shit like that. I don't know.
So what you're telling me is we need to starve Seabass to get the best riffs out of it.
Starve.
He needs to perform.
No, look, if you have a riff writing bass player, hold on to him because most of us are terrible.
No, I'm just saying they starve me anyway.
They starve you anyways.
I've been in here for about a week.
That's why you're upstairs in a separate room.
Yeah, they did say something about a bunker.
Yeah. Seabass is locked here.
That door looks like it's open, but it's a psychological barrier that he break.
Blink twice if you need help.
Yeah.
Oh man,
we'll send someone.
We should listen to some music.
Oh yeah, we should listen to music. But have you guys made a band hot sauce ever?
We made some hot sauce, and we were going to release it until our chef buddy started telling us about the dangers of botulism and why
He
we
freaked us out.
shouldn't bottle it and sell it. So
Even though we're very sanitary people.
we made some amazing hot sauce and never sold it because of that.
I've done all sorts of stuff, like from levels of fermentation to just straight up the vinegar boil or whatever else, like roasting them.
Wow.
So we've tried just about everything here, but once we find like the golden recipe, I feel like then we'll get somebody to batch cook it for us.
Well, yeah. What do we have left? Do we have bottles left of the last one we made?
Yeah, we've got some stuff left.
The last one we did was that kind of like heavily strained, super sweet. So it's like a good. I like it on like a breakfast, on eggs or breakfast tacos.
Tropical.
Yeah, it's all the peppers I grew. Like so, there's about 10 different kinds of peppers, and then a bunch of pineapple and some dragon fruit, some mango, and then just strain and strain. So it's that like shiny, clear kind, not the chunky. It came out really good. So
it sounds delicious.
I use it every morning on my sausage.
Oh, and all right. Made all the more interesting because he's a vegetarian. So I'm trying to parse that.
It's my Morningstar Farms. It's my Morningstar Farms sausage patties.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. All right. So music.
Funny.
That's what we do here, right?
Yeah, that's what we do here.
All right. So
let's do it. Let's listen to some tunes.
All right. Well, we were listening to Howling Giant. We're gonna share the screen so that you can see.
So while Jeff's working on that, when you we kind of talked about discovering new music and what kind of draws you in, but what keeps you listening? So when you hear something you never heard before, how long do you listen?
Or what makes you definitely
or what makes you like turn it off?
Sometimes I can be picky personally as a drummer when I hear something. Like everybody's adding in a certain amount of fake drum these days. It helps you pop a little bit more in the mix. But when the drums sound so fake that it makes me uncomfortable, even if the song and everything else is good, I can't handle it sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm like, these are super fake drums. I'm done. Like I'm out. It makes sense in some genres like gent. It blends well, but if you have a super light arrangement and this just gaudy drum sound for some reason,
it's a weird mashup when you're in a genre that glorifies like vintage gear and like driven tubes, and then you have this like totally fake sounding like drum kit.
Like you might have just played that on a MIDI keyboard. I don't know that a drummer.
That sounds cool sometimes though. I mean, like what was didn't you think that like Hum's latest record the drums sounded like they were programmed?
A little bit, but like it's so crushing and distorted that blends a little bit better.
That record I think sounded great.
There's
so good.
certain
So
sound.
good.
Yeah. Like that is crushing. They use really great sounds.
Dude,
but there's a certain like if you programmed your drums in GarageBand sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys probably weren't around for the first time around for Hum. I don't know how
I have been going back and exploring it now because I had never heard of them until everybody was like,
well,
Hum is back. And I'm like, Hum? Who?
Yeah.
I mean, I won't compare it exactly, but for us, it's almost like Sleep because it's like the record then, you know, from the 90s was just everywhere and it was so fucking good and it kind of defined a new sound to me. Mm-hmm. And then unless you were where they happened to play some festivals, they just disappeared. And then out of nowhere, it's like, whatever, 20 years later, there's a new Hum record and you kind of like...
Dude, it's great. And that previous record also sounds so good. I went back and checked that out. But like that was all totally new to me. But they're a great example of a band that I was immediately sucked into. I mean, for me, it's like melodic vocals over a heavy, you know, kind of underneath. That's the simplest way to get me to at least give it a shot. That combo is just what I'm drawn to. I love it, you know?
Yeah.
But besides that, it's so tough to say. If we're playing live and on tour and see some bands live, they might kick ass and I'll check out their record, but maybe I wouldn't if I didn't get that experience in the live room. You know what I mean? So like, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
Or even circling around to the Twitch streams these days, if I'm doing a request of a band I've never heard and I'm just kind of like flubbing my way through it, I have to listen to the whole thing. I'm not going to cut it off for the guy who just, you know, maybe tipped me and wanted something. But like, so that's kind of forced me into listening to some stuff that I normally wouldn't listen to. But I think that's opened my mind a little bit more, I think, which is always super cool.
All right. Yeah. So we're about to find out now. We
didn't hear from Seabass yet.
Oh, yes.
Jeez. Well, I'm different from the other guys here. That I'm
I mean, they keep you in a separate room.
As I only play the hits. Okay, I don't listen to anything new. I just it's been different for me. I think throughout quarantine, I've been listening to so much, you know, different kind of stuff. I've been really into Ninja Sex Party. Lately.
Oh, you sure you want to admit that out loud?
Yeah.
Dude,
is it safe?
We're not here to kink shame, okay?
that sounds
party
like
is in.
Sounds like an industrial band.
They're almost like a kind of like pop rock version of Tenacious D in the sense where they're kind of like comedy. But yeah, there really hasn't been anything like new that I've been listening to. I guess it's just been the same old classic hits, which is what whenever we go out on the road, whenever I'm driving, it's just like a radio station pretty much.
We call it 101 the Bass. Tuning into 101 the Bass. So it's nothing but hits.
KBSS. Give me two songs I would hear on 101 the Bass.
Sebastian.
Africa.
Okay.
And
Toto or Weezer?
Yeah.
Toto. I don't think we recognize the Weezer.
Good.
I'm not gonna recognize that.
Not even gonna answer. Yeah.
Well answered.
Yeah. Probably that, and maybe Thriller by Michael Jackson.
Nice.
Okay.
Something like that.
All right. So what's up first?
So the first band is called Vaneno.
Who know what?
Vaneno.
All right, I'll share my screen.
Glory Bringer.
So these are just people send us emails, them or their PR people with links, hopefully Bandcamp links, so that we can actually not use Spotify. All right, so we got
Vaneno
on the double.
Vaneno.
That's nice. How do they describe themselves, or do we not get to know that till after?
Oh, sure. You can if you want.
Ooh, Lisbon, Portugal.
Portuguese sludge metal band from Lisbon.
Well, sludge. All right.
Okay, cool. Let's go.
On.
All right. What song?
And Rob Hammer
Glory
likes
Bringer?
it. So.
Rob Hammer's in on this one?
Rob.
Kick
Only
ass.
Just
Let's
kick
go.
ass.
Yes, dude.
All right, here we go.
So kick ass. It has spaces between.
Yes, dude. I'm in.
Yeah, I'm in too.
I'm on board. So they have a vibe, and I don't want to say, I don't think they sound like Toke, but here's what I think of when I listen to Toke.
100%.
I think of like a pirate ship in a storm, and you're like hanging off the mast and like shrieking in the storm, and that's the vibe I'm getting from this. Even though they sound different, it's like there's this element of just his yells aren't like overly guttural, which I like. There's enough of a raw quality that feels real to me that I respect. And it grooves, which is like it's not getting too caught up in like we're sludge and we need to be like jarring or dirty. There's still the boom, bo-do-do, go-do-do. You know, you can still.
And I'll say cut the production some slack because you guys are hearing over Zoom. So obviously you might hear things a little different than they actually are. Go back and listen. And these guys are.
I'm not going to roast anyone for production.
Dude, it does sound like you're in the middle of a big old room, though. Like, it sounds like you're in the middle of a cave with them in the coolest way possible, and you're just surrounded by the band. That's like, it's an enveloping sound, which I'm all about. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, no, I really like, I can be picky about, more extreme vocals, and I really liked that, and I actually really like Toke too in terms of laying. Toke's interesting because this is more like straight sludge, where Toke's playing those like heavy stoner grooves, so that his voice on top of those stoner grooves is so jarring, in a cool way. But no, this is great. How long is this song?
Dude, we're barely in. Let's
see where it keeps going.
Yeah, let's listen to a little bit more.
It's good.
Well, here's I don't know if we'll get there, but I think there's a guitar solo in the song.
Okay.
What do you think? Yes, no?
This doesn't seem like a guitar solo song. No. I feel like
I think there will be a noise. There might be a noise section where he's like playing like a couple notes or like a line and just kind of like.
Yeah, I think it might drop down and like maybe there's a drum groove where the bass
not
guitar
a traditional
are held
solo.
out.
It's not. I wouldn't call it a solo.
Let's
see if we're right.
So for background, we stopped at this point on a song when Buddy and Tyler were on, and then Buddy just looked at the camera and goes, "What? 3 minutes 38 seconds. There will be a guitar solo." Just like call the shot out of nowhere, and I scooted the thing to exactly that point, and the fucking guitar solo started the exact second that he said. I was like, "Whoa, this is crazy, man!"
He's a wizard.
Right. Here we go.
Let's keep.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot.
That's really cool.
So one clue as to whether there might be a guitar solo or not is they
lead
do have
guitar.
a lead guitar player.
Yeah.
All right, let's get a look at these people.
Let's get a look at these guys.
It's always my favorite. All right, he's got the Conan shirt on.
Conan shirt.
Got the beards.
Yeah, the beards.
Got appropriate beards and tattoos.
They look like a sludge band.
Yeah. So did they arrange this? So if this was,
I think the guy right to the right, is he just trying to be as metal as he's capable of? He's like, dude, I gotta wear my sunglasses at night. That's gonna help.
He's like, I'm at the club. I'm dancing. What, do we have to do a band photo now? All right.
I'm on board though. These guys rip.
So is front center? Is that the singer?
That's got to be
definitely
usually right.
Mm.
Especially when it's just a singer, like there's just a vocalist.
That actually excites me about this band because because that gives him the opportunity to really perform.
Oh, I bet
those
their
vocals.
live show is awesome.
Hopefully he gets into it because I love a good rolling around on the stage, getting wrapped up in a mic cable, the shit that you can't do when you're playing.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah, this seems like one where like by the end of the show the vocalist is bleeding from the forehead. You know, because of the
very possible,
dude. I gotta use that mic next. If you, but especially in the post-COVID world, is anyone sharing mics with anyone?
That's an excellent question. Or are we all
bring
going
my
the
own,
Phil
man.
Collins route from now on?
Britney Spears.
Britney Spears.
No,
Yeah.
look, this has come up more than once, and like especially drummers. Like I feel like if more people would follow the Cody from Big Business or Dale Crover model and just put the fucking headset on, that you could have a little more free. So you sing a ton. Do you have an overhead mic hanging down in front of you? I saw it in the streams.
Yeah, so I did a bunch of research since I wanted to find something. We like to play loud, and I knew any engineer was going to be pissed off if I brought just a regular vocal mic with me. So I found what Braun from Mastodon uses.
Gotcha.
And I picked that up, and I just bring that with me everywhere and just brief the sound guy. And I hang it. I found that I hang it like to my left side, and it comes down like right in front of my face, so I can push it behind me if I ever want to, thrash around. I would love the headset, but I'll just lose it.
The minute you have the
thrash
headset,
around.
you look like you belong on Rigs of Dad.
Yeah.
There's just no redemption.
Cody,
from that. I stand by that statement. I don't care who asks me,
I'm playing the Chug Suckle later.
Dude, yeah.
What fucking town is that in? Oh man, those posts kill me.
Pudgemont County.
Pudgemont County. Yeah.
Oh, I love them because they sting so bad and they hit so close to home. It's like, oh come on.
Yeah.
I use the Rigs of Dad's post as the like how not to act guidelines for my life.
Whoever is writing those things is brilliant.
Yeah. I think he actually has a podcast, and he just interviewed Steve Brooks from Torch.
Oh,
he did.
And it's worth checking out. It's very cool.
What's the podcast called?
I think it's just
called Rigs of Dad?
Rigs of Dad podcast.
Yeah.
Actually, and I've been trying to get Steve on too. I'd love to interview that guy.
He seems like a super cool dude, and I enjoyed listening to that podcast.
So we were listening to a band on the last episode we did with Darren from Pinkish Black, and we heard the song, and the band was from Miami, and it was really fucking weird, and we were like, this is a really weird mix of things, but it's got a real kind of torchy vibe to it.
Yeah.
And then JD looks it up, and the drummer was the drummer for Floor, which was Steve's band before Torch.
What was the name of this band? Because I think I did a request a few weeks ago on the drum stream, and I was like, whoa, super
really?
torchy. And then, I scrolled down, and it's the drummer.
Yeah, what are they? I'll find out. I'll find out what they are. What I'm gonna do actually is I'll move to the next song, and then I'll pull up my list, and I'll tell you guys who they were.
So are we thumbs up on Vaneno? Are we moving on from this track?
We're moving on.
100%.
We're moving
on.
So good.
I'm thumbs up on them. I think they rip.
That was great.
That was good shit. All right, who's next?
Next is Toxic Dose.
Toxic Dose.
I have a feeling we're about to get some thrash.
Dose. Let's go.
If this isn't thrash,
look at that text.
Come on.
Yeah,
that has to be thrash. That has to be thrash.
Right.
I will say I'm hit or miss on thrash, but I think both of these boys are down with some thrash. So
sold.
You betcha.
I grew up in the Bay Area in the 80s, so it's sort of like in my blood.
Yeah.
There's no way to avoid it.
It looks like this is just a single too.
All right. Toxic Dose.
Sick. Let's go.
How about that kick though, huh?
Yeah.
That like bass
That's
tone
sick.
is just so bright for me. God.
Man, that is sick.
Tell you what, this something that bands don't do enough of is it's their own theme song, right?
You
here,
can't
too.
escape
That's
this
their name.
nuclear assault.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like, is this a parody? Is this
I
a
feel
theme
like
song?
these guys are probably badass and I would have a beer with them. This maybe isn't like, I'm not drawn to thrash, but I can respect what's happening here. I will say that bass tone is just so clangy and bright, and I know that's like stylistically appropriate, but I hear it and I'm like,
You don't like it?
get that shit. It's just not for me, man, you know?
I hear it and I go, look, you can hear the bass in a thrash song. That's killer.
yeah, that is true, actually. I'll give it some props there.
They have a very like old school thrash kind of tone,
for
rather
sure.
than not too many like newer thrash bands sound like that. That sounds very much like
It's
old school Megadeth or
it sounds like a Possessed record from 1983 is what it sounds like.
Exactly, yeah.
Authentically. So a couple little details. Toxic Dose is here to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and we're all out of bubble gum.
Oh yeah.
So
I'm
you know
on board.
your
80s reference right there.
Yep,
like-
right there. There's the 80s reference.
And then this is my favorite. Rad Rob Gray on lead guitar and vocals, Garrett Gridley on lead bass,
lead bass.
and Adam Webster
On lead
on
drums.
lead
Dude,
drums.
these guys seem rad.
Are you
Rad
seeing
Rob
Pizza
Gray-
Thrash
Dude, it's
as a
Pizza
tag?
Thrash.
That's
Yes,
what I'm
right.
talking about.
I feel like I'm
Pizza
all about
Thrash.
these guys' lifestyle, and I respect the music that they're doing, even though it's maybe not for me. I think that they're on it. I think they're on the money right now.
Yeah, you don't have
Toxic
to.
Dose.
I
You
wanna
don't
hang
have
out
to
with
be
these guys.
And they're from Utah, so they're
Oh, are
already
they?
they're
Dude,
already
I
like
would rep that shirt too. The Toxic Dose shirt, cut off the sleeves hard. Like, let's
Yeah.
go.
come on,
That
guys.
reminds me, I worked at a drum shop for a few years, and we took in this drum kit, and there was a bunch of padding in the bass drum, and I found a T-shirt in there, and it's this band called Turbo Thrust.
Turbo Thrust.
And I was like,
Oh,
I went to my
yes.
boss. I was like, "Can I have this shirt?"
Yeah. Turbo
I was like, "I'd like this shirt, please."
That's a relic.
Oh man, that's awesome.
So they only have 2 songs on here, both from 2019.
Interesting.
They have no merch. They have
That's perfect.
They have one supporter. That's why I love Bandcamp. Is like this exists. This is one
These-
guy's like, "Fuck yeah, I'll give you $1 for this song."
Yes.
Best
Listen,
dollar I ever spent.
we've been in this position before, like many moons ago. Being that band, I respect the hell out of what's happening right now. I think these guys rip.
Definitely.
Was there any kind of thrash
So-
scene in Salt Lake? So you know them?
Where? No, I have no idea. No, I do not know these guys.
JD's from Utah.
I am from Utah. Yes. Where I want to know, this has a guitar solo.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Where is it?
Has
sure.
Definitely.
Ooh, let's play Where's the Guitar Solo?
Let's play.
All
Where's
right.
the guitar solo?
Okay.
Is there a
Are
drum
we
solo?
just
in it?
we're just guessing? Okay, I
Okay.
have no way to know.
Song is 4 minutes and 9 seconds long.
I
gonna-
will say,
I'm gonna put it right
going
there.
after the first Toxic, like after the first time they mentioned their name, that chorus, if you want to call it. So that's
So they do the
probably,
chorus, they say Toxic Dose, and then they just rip.
Is it maybe 142?
All right.
Because they had a
Let's do it.
lengthy
Well, so then
intro.
here's the question: Is it just one? Is it one solo that's
Oh, I
happening,
hope
or is there a
there's-
solo here and then they rip, and then towards the end of the
There's
song
got to
they
be
got
multiple.
a
this
this
is-
red?
there's
This is a
multiple
4-minute
solos.
thrash
I think
song.
it's going to be a solo outro.
Yeah, I think so
Oh,
too.
yeah.
I think
That's a
solo
good
outro,
idea.
and I think 142 feels pretty.
142 feels like that's when we kind of were stopping, maybe.
Yeah.
Or-
Good. If
All
there
right,
was only one solo, I'd say it happened a little bit later. But if we're going solo outro, I think 142 is probably the way. Maybe even a little earlier.
I'm going to call a bonkers shot here.
Oh,
Yeah.
you coming?
I'm going to call trade and measure guitar solo, bass solo, drum solo, one after the other.
Really?
Dude, sick.
Uh,
Yeah.
They are all lead on their instruments.
They're all
which
They
means
are
they
all
probably
lead.
all
All lead.
rip.
All right.
That's
so
a
let's
well-informed choice.
here's around 140.
Oh.
Oh, no solo.
That bass is sick, though.
He is riffing. There we go.
I mean,
They had to riff for a minute, yeah.
oh, come on.
The Floyd Rose, baby.
Yeah. It's just gonna keep going.
Yeah.
I'm on board.
Fuck.
Okay, now let's skip to the end and let's see if we get an outro.
All right.
Oh, what's going on here?
They're gonna bring it down, or is it just a long?
Oh, I think it's just a long fade out. Oh. All right. Well, I missed my shot.
Well, hold on. Let's find out. We don't know yet.
This is true.
You could call this a guitar solo.
Yeah. This is more my style of a guitar solo anyway.
He's in there up on his speakers.
Yeah. Dude,
I mean,
yeah,
that middle guitar solo made up for it.
yeah, that was
I'm
great. I
actually
mean, it
gonna
makes me want the Floyd Rose dive bomb. Like, why am I not dive bombing on this guitar right now? This guy
For
gets
sure.
it.
I'm
gotta
gonna
say,
give myself 2/3 credit because there was a little bass solo right
Was
before
there?
the guitar
Yeah.
solo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, if I had the chance, I probably would play bass with these guys, but I wouldn't play lead bass. I would let the other guys do lead bass.
Yeah.
I would do rhythm bass.
Rhythm bass.
Rhythm
Yes.
bass. Yeah.
Yep.
You just hit the root every time the kick drum.
Yes.
That was awesome.
That was fucking rad. All right, Toxic
Okay.
Dose. Please make a T-shirt, guys. I'm gonna follow up on this one actually, and if you don't, I might make the T-shirt for you.
Yeah, for real.
Dude, you're like, before they even get a chance to make their own run, bootlegs are already hitting this dude. Just legends. Legends.
Can you imagine having bootleg merch that like was never produced?
Just like looking around, you seeing your own band's t-shirt, be like, fuck, we never made those shirts.
I actually want to offer to manage them, and and with one ultimate goal, which is I want to have a concert scene on Letterkenny where they're the band.
Yes.
Big time.
That's
Big time.
one of my favorite shows of all time. I
Oh, it's
love
the
that show.
best.
Oh,
It is the best. Oh man. Okay.
All right.
This next one is it's a Bandcamp find.
Okay, so we're band camping now.
So this one is not a submission, but sometimes what we'll do is Bandcamp always has like great articles, and they introduce you to great bands that maybe you wouldn't know at all. And so this is
this Rachika
Nayar.
Okay.
So this is pulled from the sort of the out there part of Bandcamp. It says Bandcamp's outer limits continue to be a rewarding place for psychedelia, experimental club, noise, vaporwave, whatever that is. And so this is the acid test is what they call it. So Miles Bow explores its far reaches to dig up hidden gems and obscure oddities.
Yeah, and so in case you're not like Bandcamp power users, they do a ton of really good curation on top of just making a platform that we all use. And we found some really fucking killer music, really out there stuff, and you know, new wave of Italian prog, and like San Antonio's Chicano soul scene, like just like you know, like laser focusing on these crazy niches, which I think is really good.
It's always really good.
Good for the world. All right.
So the song we're listening to is actually called "The Trembling of Glass."
Okay.
It's the opener.
There we go. The Trembling of Glass. Huh.
That's something.
I think I got a massage to that once.
Yeah.
Is that coming up on 101 The Bass?
Yeah.
I don't know if this one is gonna make 101 The Bass.
Well, that's where you're wrong because next.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Of course, on a limited cassette.
Yeah.
Because,
It feels very hip. It does
Yes,
feel
it
very
does.
hip.
Yeah, that's not what I was like. The description says composer, so she calls her a composer. Rachika Nayar's debut album contains some of the most inspired guitar work you'll hear this year, even as she processes the instrument into completely unrecognizable shapes. Which,
okay,
I get that last part.
yeah.
This seems like an album that I would have to like. You would really have to listen to the whole thing, and like you would have to
probably.
like. I don't want to say convince yourself to give it a shot, but like hang in there even when it feels weird, and then revisit it. Because for me, just hearing the snippet, it's like there's no way for me to judge what this is because
There's
I'm
no
not
on
in the scene.
There's no on
and
ramp.
I have no point of reference and point of entrance to this. That's not to say that it's not good, but I don't maybe understand it, and I would need to like sit with something like this for a while.
Completely.
Yeah,
You know
you'd
what I
have to commit to listening to the whole thing, and like, what's
It
hard
seemed
about
cool.
that is there are still records from bands that I love, that I know I love, and that I know I'll like that I haven't taken the time to sit down and do that for.
Completely.
So then prioritizing something random like this seems weird.
Yeah.
Do you guys do, side note, do you guys ever do this on Bandcamp? You like find an artist and you start revealing their grid to see how far down it goes?
Yeah.
To see how many supporters they have. And you're like,
She has a lot.
oh, I think we have about that many. No,
You can't compare your grid size. You
No,
know?
you can't.
You
You
can't get
can't.
hung up on that.
yeah, don't get hung up on that.
The size of your grid. That's funny.
All right, well maybe I'll go back and listen to that.
Yeah, maybe.
Or maybe
I don't think
not.
we need to keep listening.
All right.
Yeah.
I
All
feel
right,
weird
but-
though. Like I don't want to roast any artist when I'm listening
No,
to some
correct.
new stuff, and that's where I think with them, I just don't have enough information to even give like a
And that's-
valid opinion. You know,
I agree, and that's not submitted music. That's just something we yanked off of Bandcamp.
Yeah.
So we don't. We're not gonna like tag
and
them.
the thing is
and
that
they'll
it
never
is-
know we listen to it.
It is supposed to be music that is like sort of uncategorizable that you might not really get. And that's kind of the whole purpose of this.
you know
acid
what's
test.
interesting though is listening to like especially that last thing. I can think of a few friends that I bet would appreciate it and have a much more like, is this cool? You know, and I would almost need to take it to them first and be like,
Yeah.
Explain
is this
to me.
cool? Should I listen to this? And like, what do I? What?
There's always people pushing the boundaries with what you can do with music, just like
Yeah.
weird programming and like cutting, chopping, and screwing everything. That's like that's been the thing for a while. Like we have plenty of friends that we went to school with that are just like into the weirdest stuff, but when you see the process of them making it, you gain a lot of appreciation.
Makes
for
more
it
sense.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious how that went because you could hear, the like repeated pressing down, left hand or whatever. I don't know if she's left or right-handed of those two notes that were kind of like the basis of the beginning of that song.
Is that what was going on? It was like just kind of
Yeah,
tapping
she
on the
was just
strings?
tapping. She was just.
I
Tapping
was gonna say
a
I
couple
did
notes.
not register that as like guitar.
As guitar.
work. I was hearing just like this is an electronic thing that's happening. You know,
Just a repeating.
That's just-
Yeah, she was just like
Like a loop. Yeah, that's kind of
and then like
what I was
like
hearing.
with a pedal board, like kind of fucking around with some knobs and stuff. It
Yeah,
actu-
if I didn't know that was a guitar by reading the thing, I would have never thought it was a guitar.
Yeah, same.
It's a good segue though into the merch table because I feel like that's a song that you could make with your new
Do you think?
your new piece of merch.
Yeah.
So yesterday was his birthday.
Yesterday was my birthday.
Nice, happy birthday!
Happy birthday.
For the first time on this show, I have gear.
He has
Oh.
gear. He's a singer, so he doesn't have gear.
Wow. I got
Whoa,
myself
Nice.
and what is it? An Akai MPK Mini.
Little MIDI controller.
I'm gonna start making some music.
Yes,
Yeah.
sick,
Making some
dude.
That's
beats.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear his
You know
sick
what's
sick
still in
beats.
there?
Wait, what's in there? Is that all the? Okay.
All of our-
So what's the weed legality status in Tennessee?
This is Bible Belt. It is not.
It is
Not
not,
legal.
It is
legal.
not.
All right,
Well,
so-
it's
so-
partially legal, but
So we were ordering weed delivery last night, as you do,
How'd you do in California?
on
Yeah.
8:30.
Yeah.
Dude, we should order because I went on Ease, which is the site that we use, and had a new product, which I will buzz market here called Alt. This is like a little 5 milligram mix-in. It's like a little vial of liquid, colorless, odorless, tasteless, and it's like the kind that's like emulsified, so it goes right into your bloodstream. And you just pour this into any drink, whatever you want. So I was flipping through, and you could get a 5-pack of them for $25.
30.
30?
Yeah.
Well, it was 25 yesterday.
Oh, it was 30 today.
And then for some reason, the singles were $1.
Wow, interesting.
So
they got to work on their branding.
So you get 5 for 30 or 30 for 30.
Yeah.
So we just added to cart until it wouldn't let us add anymore, and checked out and we're watching TV at 9:00. It's like knock knock
knock knock.
Who's at our door? Oh, the weed guy. And
that is wild.
This giant pile of these little vials now.
Yeah. So I stuck him in my box.
He stuck him in his little birthday box.
That sounds my birthday box. Goes along with my sausage really well.
With your morning your morning sausage.
And then I also got a record yesterday.
Yeah,
I'm really excited about. This is the new Death from Above 1979 record that came out yesterday.
That's our ring light.
Kind of see it. That's the ring light.
Yeah, it's very shiny.
I've been a huge fan of DFA since they came out. I love them. Are you guys familiar with them?
Listened to a bit, but I haven't in a while, admittedly. It's been a while since I've checked them out.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, I haven't listened to the new one, so we're going to see how it is. But they've gotten a little more electronic as they've gone on. They used to just be the 2-piece drum and bass, noisier. But yeah, I'm stoked.
How about you guys? Have you guys been buying merch or gear, or you guys been kind of conserving the money given what's going on the last year?
Let me go grab. I got the micro cord. I'll just hold it up. I'm
so
nice.
We've been. I feel like I've been buying gear, but I haven't been buying new records like I should be. I've been kind of a bad boy in using Spotify, which is not the way, But
I think
let me get our grinder dugout combo show.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
I haven't been buying any records either, but I've gotten a new SVT. What is it? Just SVT Classic and
got the SVT Classic in the cab
and an 8x10 cab.
And
so
810.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is that so what were you playing before? Or is it an upgrade?
Yeah, it's definitely an upgrade. Before I was playing a SVT 350 through a Mark Bass 215 cab.
Ah, yes,
and
that's an upgrade.
And the cab sounded great, but the amp was too big to fit on top.
I think I remember that.
Play so
actually.
loud that it would just shake it off. Yeah. So
dude, that amp sounded great for what it was, but it was a solid state, and just we were kind of pushing that as much as we could,
It always looked weird though, having to set the amp sideways on the cab. It's
Oh, for years I played one of those Orange Terror 1000 little lunchbox heads, 1,000-watt solid state hybrid head. And it would literally just rattle off the speaker cabinet. It was weighed 8 pounds, and it would just creep over to the side. A couple times I caught it right on the edge of the cab. All right, what do you got there?
I got a micro Korg.
Oh, that's sick.
Now, so I'm super into this. We have Marshall doing keys on everything, but we always want to add a little extra into our shows. So if I have a rack in the back where I can run some extra things. I have a little Roland TM2 that I want to incorporate as well. We have spoken word in some sections of our songs, so it'd be cool for me to be able to trigger that. And then in between, if Tom and Seabass need to take a break to tune, it'd be really cool for just me to drone on some weird synth sounds and Marshall to build off of it. So King Buffalo uses this in their live shows. That's what I've seen. What I saw recently is our buddy John from Jake the Hawk from Pittsburgh. We did a live stream with them in December, and he was using it, and he used it on their new record, and he got some really cool sounds. So I wanted to just have some kind of soundscapey stuff in the background, and it helps me when we're writing to just plug in, because me singing riffs to Tom and Seabass is not always as helpful as maybe just playing something.
Playing them on it.
Yeah.
No, that's really cool. And I love, we have the ability to do interstitial stuff, to have a couple different ways to do it. But I got a Moog Sub 25 about a year ago to add some synth in and a little foot pedal, so that I can have a 1 octave 12 note controller, so I can use the foot pedal, but I also have a bunch of samples loaded on a loop pedal.
Yeah.
So that I can just trigger from my board, run a separate line to the PA, and it'll just be ambient noise or spoken word stuff or whatever. I just have a bank of samples that I can rifle through and trigger it. It's really good to be able to do that, to like eliminate that awkward downtime.
I'm gonna have that soon when I do my live shows.
Oh, and JD's gonna have it. Well, got a MIDI controller there. You can do whatever you want when you do your live shows.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I love, honestly, I love all the keys on the records, and I'm so stoked that I got to see a random night where you guys actually had a keyboard player live, and that fucking that big rolling rack he had with the Leslie, the rotating speakers. I just stood next to him and just watched from right there.
So dope.
I remember that engineer was like, had never mic'd one of those up before and was just like,
I don't know, man.
And Drew was like, just hand it to me.
That was dope.
I feel like that engineer maybe hasn't mic'd a lot of different things before, but when you clear out your,
he was pretty new, right? He hadn't done a ton.
He was
super
guy.
nice though.
Yeah,
we got there. I remember that show.
There were some weird questions where I was like, I've never done this.
Just needed
Why
a hand.
am I doing
To be
this?
fair, when you have like a rotating speaker and you just aren't even normally a venue, it's like, dude, you gotta cut that guy some slack.
Oh,
Yeah, for
100%.
sure.
Yeah.
You know.
No, that ended up being a really fun night. It was a cool night, and I love a weird off the wall venue like that where you can browse records when you're comic books when you're not playing, and then they had like the barbecue truck outside and the brewery in the back.
Great.
Yeah, that was a cool spot.
Yeah, that's where we actually met Anton, who's the Toke Mage guy that makes all the dugouts, and we had him make a
Anton.
round. Yeah, he made these guys a little mirrored there, but
Made
got
a
a
little dugout
sparkling
for us?
purple flake. We got a bunch of these made on some cherry wood for the Alteration release, and then
The grinders.
Shiny.
shiny. Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
We're branding up, you know.
Anton's cool as hell. He's done some dugouts and other stuff for Buddy, I know too, and I've gone back and forth with him about having stuff made, but kind of in a merch downswing right now. I need to get rid of some stuff before I buy new stuff. Cool. All right. Well, I have a couple things here.
No.
One of my all-time favorite artists, and because we have the green screen up, this is gonna look all fucked up. But
crazy fucked up.
Is this upside down?
It's upside down.
Probably doesn't matter.
Here, take this
but
side.
you guys know Skinner?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is just, he's got a new merch site. He's got killer merch, and now he's selling these big flags.
Oh,
and this
yeah.
is like,
What's happening?
it's all the D&D. It's like all the basic D&D monsters.
Oh, sick!
But anything that's green is not going to show up because of the green screen. Well, maybe it's.
Are you gonna take it into the bedroom? Is this going up in the bedroom?
Yeah, it's right above the bed, especially the gelatinous cube there in the. That I'm pointing at.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love.
Do you guys play D&D?
Oh yeah.
Dude, yeah, we stream it on Tuesdays.
Oh, you do?
Really?
Oh, that's dope.
Nice.
That's dope. We started teaching the 11 and 13-year-olds how to play about a year ago, and then for some reason I don't know what happened. Their attention span wasn't quite there. So you could get a solid half hour, 45 minutes session in, but then they were just like
they liked building their characters.
Yeah, they loved
the character building.
They'll build characters all day, but getting them to I think another couple of years and they're on board to play. They just can't quite focus enough to do it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. No, it's fun. I mean I've been playing since it was since second edition was new. I don't think I ever played first edition, but
he's old man.
I definitely we had some friends who had a cabin in Tahoe, and we'd be up in the attic of this cabin, in the middle of the woods, barely even with electricity, playing D&D for hours. It was killer.
When everything locked down initially, we went hard. We were playing it would be 4 times a week.
Dude, I can't think about D&D right now. It's
and you all have your go-tos? Yeah. What are your go-to characters?
Who's the DM?
A friend of ours usually DMs.
Okay.
Usually,
nice.
I've tried to DM, and dude, I just can't put in that much extracurricular work. I'm like, dude, it becomes so enveloping and just. I was obsessing over it, and I was like, "This isn't good for me. I can't dive this deep."
What we learned from overdoing it is we found out how to refine this so that when we stream, we go max 2 hours. That's done.
Well, and also I was like, I just can't do it that many days a week.
Yeah.
But it was fun. But we went hard at the beginning.
Yeah,
we went hard.
It's fun. You guys have preferred classes, preferred character builds.
I like to switch it up. I feel like
Yeah.
there's something cool that almost all of them offer, and there's a way to make like a broken character. But
Yeah.
if that's what you're trying to do, then I feel like you don't. That's not the point of the game. You know
no
what I mean?
min-maxers in my D&D games. I don't
Yeah.
want anything to do with those people.
Mhm.
No,
Yeah.
I've played so many, and now I pretty much always, especially if I'm playing with new people, I always play a bard, just because I think bard gives you the opportunity to fuck with everybody the most.
Well, bards are really cool in the latest edition. They're actually
they're
like,
super
pretty...
cool.
I was playing a bard for a while in the first little bit, and I was probably obnoxious, but I grabbed a recorder, and for every spell, every time I cast, I'd play a little tune.
Oh, you have to. Oh, dude,
You have
to. No.
You have to.
do you guys listen to a lot of podcasts? Are you guys podcast consumers?
Some, not a ton.
I was listening to. Well, you've been listening to Adventure Zone, right?
Yeah, I've been
Yeah.
listening. I don't know if you guys check out the Adventure Zone at all.
No.
Check out that. It's pretty sick D&D podcast, but they're
Or
very
Nad
good.
Pod, not another D&D podcast. Those guys are great too.
And I mean, you listen to every episode of ours. Right?
Yeah, and that.
Of course.
No,
Exactly,
Every single one.
Yeah.
So
You sent me references for this. I was like, dude, I know all your stuff, you guys. Huge fan. Huge fan.
huge fan.
Well, no, they won't listen for 3 hours, but I could probably get them for 45 seconds.
Yeah.
So one of my favorites is technically a D&D podcast, but it's so like twisty-turny that it's not really, called Nerd Poker. It's Brian Posehn, who's a stand-up
Great.
comedian and heavy metal fan, has been running D&D games with his friends like for years. Used to be with like Sarah Silverman and Doug Benson, and so they would get together once a week with, they're all like comedy writers and shit. So it always devolves into like a ridiculous joke fest. And they, like one episode will be like half of one fight because they just can't even, like everybody's doing bits and they can't get to the point. But like
they're just riffing. You can't stop that bus.
you can't,
you know?
you cannot stop it. And they've adapted and figured out how to do one-offs and Zoom episodes, but the best stuff they do is on their Patreon. They'll do like Danger Rooms, and they'll get a special guest. So like they've got a couple Danger Rooms they've done with Tom Lennon that are some of the funniest shit. Like from what he's in Reno 9, he's Lieutenant Dangle from Reno 911. He's the funniest fucking guy in the whole world, and he plays this character, this turtle. It's like a turtle man, and he does this voice for the turtle, and they just bring him back whenever they can, just so that he can play this. The turtle's dead, so they've done Danger Rooms in hell, and like just so that they can play more games with his character.
That's amazing.
But, oh man, it's really great.
Oh man.
All right, so the last thing I got here was we ordered copies. Not just because Santos was coming on, but because Old Man Gloom released 2 new records last year.
Oh yeah,
sick.
So,
Nice.
And we trade off buying records for each other so that we don't have to pay shipping twice. And so our new Old Man Gloom records came, and then in that same order, because I didn't have it on vinyl yet.
Oh, one of my favorite records, man.
Yeah,
Foundations of Burden is so good.
Yep.
So good.
So that was it. That was an easy grab.
Oh my God! Did you read the sticker on this?
Well, why did Santos write them?
Of course he did. It says, a companion to the other album that's just been released, not to be mistaken for a double album, released by a Canadian because no record label in Trump's America would let a Mexican drummer take a job from hardworking heavy metal voters.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I was aware of Old Man Gloom, but I didn't know anything about Santos. If you don't know, just go follow the Old Man Gloom Instagram.
Will do.
Because I mean, it's a fucking template for how to be on social media as a band. He's just good at it, so they let him do it exclusively, and their IG
fucking
is
hilarious.
and it's got a life of its own.
Oh yeah.
Even if they weren't a band, I think people would follow that
for sure.
Would follow that Instagram. He posted pictures of him. Oh, I sent you the link to the one video of him taking a shower with
the PS4.
With the PS4.
Yeah, that was great. I was like, who is this psychopath?
Yeah.
Well, the other story that he told that we haven't cut into a snippet yet is him fucking with the singer from At the Gates.
Yeah.
Because they were
they
were doing something at Roadburn. At the Gates was curating, I think, and Old Man Gloom was playing, and he got Walter's approval to like prank a couple people, and so he made these fake texts pretending to be the singer from At the Gates, just talking about Peter Steele and porn.
Yeah.
And the guy from At the Gates was on vacation like in Mexico and didn't know it was a joke. And like Santos put his phone away, put his phone away, went to work, opened his phone up and had like 80 missed phone calls, 60 messages. Everyone's like, what the fuck are you doing?
That's
Because
amazing.
the guy like flipped out on him. But...
Why is he being such an asshole to you? I can't believe he's being so mean to Old Man Gloom. He's like, oh shit. No, those are me.
Yeah. No, that's a quality social media account from him. Most of them are throwaway, including my own, but that's how you do it right, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
All right, how are you guys for time? You guys have time to listen to a couple more? Or
We
are
probably
you...
got to split in a minute here because we're getting ready for our stream at 5 o'clock.
All right.
And I got to get some food, but this has been sick.
No, this has been great. So, so thanks for coming on. This is going to go up
we need to get hometown first.
a week from Monday. Oh yeah. We didn't finish hearing where all your hometowns are, but real quick, each of you, your favorite band or bands from your hometown, like particularly stuff you were into, like when you're a teenager, or like getting into music in the first place. Any bands?
I'm a weird one. I'm an Army brat, so we moved every 2 years, so I never really had a spot, you know. So I feel like I wasn't in bands until I went to college up in Boston. So, but I remember seeing Elder with Tom up there, like in the early days, and we were like 2 of 8 people there, you know.
Oh dang! What venue? Do you remember?
I think it was O'Brien's.
At O'Brien's? Oh my god. Fucking Elder at O'Brien's would be in.
There was no one there. And dude, funny story. Someone caught like a YouTube video of this show, and I was standing in the front row. I think like very stoned, and so I was just like kind of zoned out, but like way in, and I'm just like dialed in on Nick's playing. And like, dude, I found that video and went in the comments, and I'm just getting roasted. They're like, "Who's this guy in the front row?" Like, American fans suck. No one's rocking out. This is Elder. And I'm like, dude, there are 5 people here. I'm in college. Just like totally blitzed and just like staring at this dude. But I'm just getting roasted in this comment section.
That's fun. Did you guys go to Berkeley?
We did, yeah.
You did? I thought I remember reading that at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Boston's such a unique scene because of the mix of, you know, all the music schools and the art, tons of art education in there.
Yeah. It was cool, but in its own way, there was, I think, some toxic element. There were just so many bands that were just so thirsty to play, and so many like just horrible promoters that were willing to take advantage of this and like not treat these musicians right, that it created this kind of, in my opinion, it was a difficult scene to be a part of.
It was hard to break into for anybody.
But it was fun, dude. We learned a ton, and we got to jam together, and ultimately, you know, decided to move to Nashville with a crew of friends, and it kind of worked out. But if you were trying to like make it in Boston, it was tough.
Gotcha. All right.
So, we got Seabass, Tom.
Yeah, I'm from Buffalo, Minnesota. And was the question was it formative bands or
hometown bands? Just
your favorite
bands from where you grew up.
Band that just
there weren't a lot of bands from my hometown, but there was a band called Bloodroot Mother that were just like some dudes I went to high school with that were so sick, and they kind of opened my eyes to what it meant to be like an underground band. You know, this was a small middle of nowhere town that I'm in some like 20-year-old degenerates turned this like rundown building into a venue, you know, and this band Bloodroot Mother would go and play, and I would go and like see these shows, and I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. Like, I know these guys, and they're just like so loud playing. It was like, it really opened my eyes at the time, you know?
Yeah, that's cool. That's perfect. Yeah.
So that's funny because I think you guys mentioned earlier there were 2 other bands that you mentioned earlier, Black Moon Mother and Bloodroot.
Yeah,
but this is Bloodroot Mother.
This is Bloodroot Mother. Different, exactly. Different band entirely. It's all coming together. You know?
That's funny.
That's weird.
Nice.
Yeah, I got to say, you know, being from Philly, there was the town that I grew up in. There wasn't too many bands that came out of there, so you know, really the closest thing we have is Philly. But CKY is probably a band that I would just listen to.
That song is on 101.
What a riff, dude. I'm down with that. I would dial in on the bass for that track.
And then, honestly, you know, in Philly, like soul is really huge there. And so that's something that I just kind of grew up listening to, like the OJs, Temptations, everything in like that type of genre.
Yeah, we've had a lot. We've had, because we've interviewed Alyssa Moser Pike, and then also Nighthawk from Heavy Temple. She's in Philly. I don't think she's originally Philly, but she's at this point she might as well be. So we've had a lot of Philly band shout outs.
They're amazing.
We played a few shows with Heavy Temple, and they're just absolutely amazing. I mean, the fact that she has that Bootsy Collins star bass, is just
that's so sick,
awesome.
Completely.
On her episode, she tells a story about running into Abath at Psycho in the elevator and holding her the case for that bass, and he made her like take it out and look at it.
Yeah,
that's sick. That's dope.
She's killer. So calling out Boston promoters gives me some good ammo, because we just booked Aaron Gray from Gray Skull Booking, who is a longtime Boston promoter guy. So we'll have.
But he's wonderful. He has always helped us out, man. What a good guy.
I would also say there's a very different. It's a very different scene when you're a promoter that is specifically looking for like college bands from your music. You know what I mean? Like, they're a very different type of being, and I think Aaron's actually doing a real job.
It's only until we moved out of Boston that we met the helpful people from Boston. Yeah, exactly. Who's the guy that does RPM Fest? John Gulo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that guy has always been super great, and then obviously Aaron.
I just mean I'm gonna make Aaron name names and call people out.
You get him
because he will.
Yeah.
Dude, there was a while where these promoters would book up every night at every venue. They would just talk to the venue and say, "I have control of this." They would take everything from the door and just get these bands to play for like nothing. These bands had to go through them. They were just like a middleman who like monopolized every night of every show.
That's crazy.
It sucked, man. It was a rough way to be. It was not a good look for the scene at the time.
I remember playing All Asia at noon on a Saturday.
Yeah, dude. That was the
real awful show.
Saturday matinee.
Yeah. Dude, you're like, I had a longboard because I was in college, and you should have a longboard. And I had like an amp on this thing, like using it to cart down like a mile down the road to get to this venue, Because I can't afford to take like a cab or anything.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, I'm going to wheel my amp on a skateboard to get to the show,
Nice.
It's actually a good use.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will let you guys get to your stream, but appreciate the time. Thanks for listening to some music with us, and for sure we got to hit up those dudes in Toxic Dose.
Yeah.
And sign some kind of management agreement or something.
Let's get those shirts made. That's what I'm talking about.
Step one is the shirts, but I need to know more.
Yeah.
So, awesome. Yeah. All right. Well,
so every Saturday, right?
4 days a week they stream. So what is it? A D&D stream, a guitar stream, a drum stream, and then a full band jam?
So D&D on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Central. Tom starts at 10 a.m. Central on Wednesday mornings. I do the drum stuff Thursdays at 6 or 7 p.m. And then every Saturday at 5 p.m. Central, that's when the full band jam sesh goes down.
Yeah, that's awesome. Nice. So what's the name of the channel?
Just Howling Giant Official, all one word.
Awesome.
So twitch.tv/Howling Giant Official.
Tip them. I think we're giving our kids Twitch money for Easter because they don't really care about Easter shit anymore. So and they're watching someone almost constantly and want a tip or sub or whatever. So
you could hear a song on an upcoming album.
Indeed.
All right, at least some riffs.
Well, have a killer stream, guys, and I'm sure we will talk to you or see you in person at some point here. When that is a thing we can do again.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Right on.
Cheers. Have a good one, guys.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
All right. Seabass.
See you guys later.
Is out, and then we will remove them.
They could also just hang up themselves and be gone.
Yeah. They could do that too, but you never know. There's an awkward moment there where it's like, goodbye.
Goodbye.
And then you're still staring at each other.
Goodbye.
Hey.
Yeah.
You're still there.
Well,
that was dope.
Yeah, that was awesome. Those are great guys.
Those are good dudes. You want to blast through a couple more submissions real quick before we hang up?
I mean, we might as well.
Yeah, let's do it.
We've got a giant list we got to get through.
You pick them. Woo-wee. All right, so we're gonna do solo. A couple of submissions here. What is the next one? Dango?
Darqo. I mean, it could be.
Let's just call it that.
Yeah. Darqo?
Darqo, DARQO.bandcamp.com.
Darqo.
If you're watching on YouTube now, you can see their Bandcamp page. Those dudes are rad, man.
Yeah, they are.
And that's what you do. If one way doesn't work, go another way. If you can't tour and play shows, fucking figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's really interesting that they were all in the service business. Well, I think it's really interesting that 2 Berkeley-educated musicians have to work at bars, but that's a whole other topic.
Or they choose to.
Well, I mean, it's the flexibility that you get
It's the
working a job like that to be a musician.
Exactly.
But that it created a moment of reflection so that they could go like,
yeah,
maybe I'm putting too much time into this. Let's put that same time into band
just
stuff.
like how many like Berkeley-educated musicians are in heavy bands.
Yeah, it's
know,
super cool. All right, so this band Darqo, the album is called Nights in the Scullery, all one word.
It's an interesting looking cover.
It's kind of a cool cover.
It's really cool.
It's a bunny situation.
Yeah, it's kind of cartoonish, which is interesting. See what they sound like. Where are they from?
I'm not going to read the description. They're from Belgium.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Let's see what we get. Icarus?
Darqo. The song is called Icarus.
Kind of cool.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
You know what kept running through my head? I saw a change in you.
What is
with Deftones. I can't sing. I just outed myself. Like you never.
It's okay. Neither can Chino. Neither can Chino. So. He sounds great on all the albums. He sounds horrible live.
Fantastic on the records.
This is a really long song. I want to hear more. Why don't you skip to like halfway through? Because I have a feeling like it's going to build and build and build, and then there's going to be like a release. Yeah, I know.
Do you have something you need to
talk
about? Okay, here we go.
the opposite of a build and release.
I like it a lot.
It's really cool.
I like the tempo changes too, like mid part. So the part's not changing at all, but the tempo's shifting. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's like a band performance, no click, or if they have that shit programmed.
Super cool. I want to listen to more of this.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Their band photo's funny. I can't
how many
tell.
people are
I
in
can't
the
tell.
band?
I think they're just all repeated multiple times.
Is that it?
Yeah,
Maybe
I think
the
it's
feet?
like well, I think it's like four, I think
Actually,
it's four.
count the feet. It looks like the feet are not.
Yeah, because they don't have a lineup listed here. So I like this. There's one review on the Bandcamp page. Flemish sludge. The tracks sound as though they're about to fall apart under their own weight, but somehow the band manages to keep it all together. I don't disagree.
Yeah.
Musical equivalent of wandering through the basement of a lunatic asylum. You know, the section where they keep the really disturbed inmates. And then this guy's got a podcast.
Oh, look
at
at that.
The Death Rattle Podcast.
Death Rattle Podcast.
Which I feel like sounds familiar. And
and they're on Bandcamp like we should be.
Yep.
Look at that. A grubby little radio
I think
show.
they just play music.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I've heard of this before.
Huh.
They have 781 followers on Bandcamp, so they're doing
nice.
They're doing something.
Yeah, I really like that. Way to go, Darqo, if we're pronouncing it right.
Darqo. All right, and then last but not least,
Are you ready for one more? The last one is
Arabrot.
Arabrot.
Oh, I'm excited about this.
You're excited about this?
Looks weird.
Yeah, it does look weird. Norwegian Gothic.
Yeah, the album
the
is
name of the
called
album,
Norwegian Gothic, and the photo is like some weird
It's cool branding.
Midsommar looking.
Yeah, it is very
ritual
Midsommar looking.
People with
baby in the belly, you think?
Yeah, but they're like, oh, that's fucking weird.
Skeletons around. Are those crows or are those vultures?
I think those are crows. Crows are ravens.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
All right. Oh, this is another Pelagic Records.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. So they'll probably be good.
Your label's on the ball submitting stuff to us. I'll tell you that right now.
Good
All
job,
right.
Pelagic.
What song?
The Lie.
The Lie. All right. So this is Arabrot, Arabrot.bandcamp.com. And the song is called The Lie. And I got to turn it up. I'm in. I like this a lot.
That's super cool.
So listen to this. Arabrot is Kjell Tallman Nurnes and Karen Dark Diva Park. They live in the countryside with their 2 children in an old church. Rock and roll is their religion.
Nice.
And I think that's them.
I wonder if that's actually where they live.
And maybe that's
or
their
if
house.
That's like a story, but
I don't know.
Either way, like that is really cool.
That's dope. It's different than I expected. It started off a lot poppier, and then it got kind of more moody and weird, but it's still kind of on the upbeat side. But then it definitely has like flashes of old goth stuff.
Oh, for sure.
That I like a lot.
His that sing that is the man singing?
Yeah. Well, she came in during the like the part where I just paused it. They were singing harmonies, and those 2 voices together like gave me some
feels,
some memories, some 80s memories. Let's listen to a little more. All right, there's a lot more.
Look
to
at there's
this.
a story going on here.
Well, no, I mean, there's a lot more to this band. So when you just kick off reading, this is their 9th full-length album. Sees the band collaborate with Lars
9th?
Horntveth,
Holy cow.
cellist,
it's not even out yet.
Cellist Joe Quayle, Thomas Yamir from Motorpsycho, Anders Moeller from Turbo Negro and Ulver,
Oh.
Massimo Pupillo from Zoo, stellar production by Jamie Gomez, Arellano, Black Eyed Peas, Paradise Lost, Hex Vessel, Oranzi Pazuzu. And then as you read the story and they get into her story, she was a pop star who has Grammys and an entry in the Eurovision Song Contest.
What?
Yeah. What the fuck?
Yeah. That's crazy.
After 5 albums, a few Grammys, writing a Eurovision entry for Norway, and hits for other artists and performances with Lana Del Rey and David Bowie,
David Bowie.
Karen returned to the village of her youth and bought the church where she first sang in front of as an audience as a child.
Dude.
The church is where they rehearse and record.
Wow.
Whoa, this is dope. All right.
What did that say about him? Something about being diagnosed with throat cancer?
Whoa, I didn't see that.
Right there in the second to the last paragraph.
Diagnosed with malignant throat cancer in 2014 in the middle of the tour. Instead of heading in for surgery right away, the band finished their European tour. Oh, good. We played every night like it was the last show ever. You go into a phase where life is no more vivid, more real.
Wow. Recovered from
Axe did not
cancer.
fall or recovered. Grr.
Oh, Billy Anderson.
Has collaborated with producers like Billy Anderson and Steve Albini, musicians like Ted Parsons, Stephen O'Malley,
Son of...
Kveller Attack. All right.
Oh.
So, hey, guys. You guys want to come on a podcast?
Seriously.
We just listened to your music, and it's fucking rad.
Really good. And this is the 9th album?
That's what it says.
See, this is like another one of those albums or artists that we should have heard of them by
yeah,
now.
we should know who this is.
We should know who this is.
There's too much music.
Wow.
Telling you. Stop making it. No, I'm
That's
just
really
kidding.
cool.
Don't do that. So, Arabrot. So, everyone who knows who they are when we're like, oh, this is neat.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I know everybody yelling at the
But then-
at the podcast right now.
I mean-
what do you mean you never heard of Arabrot?
But there's only like
yeah, they don't. What
20
12? Maybe
support,
20
less than 20.
supporters on Bandcamp.
Let's look at all the releases.
Look at that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a lot of releases.
That's crazy.
Cool.
Wow. Nice.
All right. Well,
Thanks, Arabrot.
I think we did it.
Did we do it?
We did another one.
No, we did another one.
Did it again. Oops, we did it
again. We had we sang that wearing our Britney Spears mics. No.
Our headsets.
Yeah. Isn't the Britney Spears headset mics?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. That's,
Isn't that what we've been talking about?
yes, but we don't have them on. We don't have them
No,
on.
it was a joke.
Oh.
Okay.
I thought I
wasn't
missed.
funny.
I thought
joke.
I just thought I missed something.
That was one of our drinking game things. Is every time I make a horrible joke,
Oh.
I laugh at myself.
And then I stare into
Yeah.
into the
Yeah.
void, going, "What do I do now? I don't know." Sorry.
There's a lot of good ones. So, head to our Instagram. Tell us what we would talk way too much about in
corn.
every episode that would probably kill you if we did have a drinking game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like our listeners are tough.
You think
I
so?
feel like they can knock them
You don't
back.
think they ever get tired of hearing the same stories?
No, I think they can drink heavily.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think
I
they'll
think
die.
so, too. Yeah, I think so, too.
Just a feeling. All right,
I mean,
well,
it doesn't have to be a drinking game. It could be a toking game.
it could be shots of water.
Yeah.
It could be chicken McNuggets.
Yeah. See.
Do a power hour.
Ooh, fuck yeah. Chicken
A
McNugget. Morningstar Farms nuggets.
A cheeseburger every time we say an Impossible Burger every time.
Yeah.
That would be expensive, though.
That would be really expensive. Those
$7
goddamn things are
for an
expensive.
Impossible Whopper at Burger King.
Yes. So thank you for tuning in, everybody.
Thank you.
Spread the word.
Once again,
Follow us on all
Jem,
our socials.
We Empty Rooms,
Yes, you win.
King Buffalo record coming your way.
Mhm.
Blynd
Once you send us your address.
Yeah. Blynd Submyshynz on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube,
Every podcast platform.
Every platform. If we're not on a platform or you have trouble with anything, always feel free to reach out. blindsub@gmail.com. And remember to
send us
your music. Tell your friends to send us music.
Yes.
We
We're
can
still trying to make it through a lot, but
we can never
keep it
have too
coming.
much. Yeah.
exactly.
never
We
have
want to
too much.
hear all of your quarantine jams.
Indeed. And as we emerge, all of your non-quarantine
Yeah.
jams. when we can all comfortably go into a studio again with strangers.
Ooh.
Looking forward to it.
I can't wait to release my non-quarantine.
Oh, I can't wait to hear you.
My new MIDI.
You're gonna you have to make a song.
I'm gonna trick you one day,
and then you have to pick it out.
You and the people on the show are gonna rip it apart, and I'm gonna feel so bad. They're gonna be like, "This is obviously somebody that doesn't know what he's doing."
Yeah, I wouldn't.
But hey, guys, stick with it.
Yeah. Hey, just keep at it, bud.
Yeah, keep at it.
Come on, bud.
You know, you're not really onto anything, but
and,
if you try really hard, you might be one day.
To take us out, Toxic Dose, we're coming for you.
Coming for you, Toxic Dose.
All right, well, that has been another episode of Blynd.
Thanks for joining us for another week of Blynd Submyshynz. See episode description for links to all artists discussed in this episode, and visit their sites to support them directly by buying music and merch. Share links to the podcast or YouTube videos with your friends, especially if they're in bands. Bands, if you want us to listen to your music on a future episode, please submit one song to blyndsub@gmail.com. That is blyndsub, BLYNDSUB @gmail.com. Bandcamp links preferred, but not required. Find us on social media at Blynd Submyshynz. Full video episodes are available on our YouTube. Remember, we go in blind, so you don't have to. Blynd Submyshynz.